In the morning, throw the light outside. Come and grab a cup of joe. Convertible down, let's go for a ride. There's a party on the radio. Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer. Happer and wah, Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Yeah. Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer. Happer and wah, Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike.
Welcome in here on a Tuesday as I try to figure out where I want my microphone here. As we start the show, it is Mike Schaefer sitting in the number one chair. Connor Happer has been a busy man. He rode a Ferris wheel yesterday, Joey. I don't know if you heard about this.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that yesterday. I'm
he
proud of him.
asked the operator to stop the Ferris wheel, and the operator sent him on a few more spins. So we'll see how Connor Happer is feeling this morning. A man famously afraid of anything above about 8 feet in the air. So we'll see how the Ferris wheel did for him. He's going to be joining us at 7:20 today. In his place, though, the Connor Happer of today, we have Matt Williams from Grand Island joining us here today. Matt, how are we doing?
Doing good. Good morning, fellas.
You, when I talk to you, you are familiar with our show. You have listened to our show. I'm excited to have you join us here today. And I'm curiously how much College World Series have you been able to watch here over the last 4 days or so?
I'm a really weird person. I don't watch any sports hardly at all.
Okay.
I listen to everything.
Okay. So were you listening to the broadcast?
I have a disease called radio.
Okay.
So I listen.
That's a good disease to have when you're involved over here.
So my job is my life, and I watch Husker football and Chiefs, and that's about it.
Okay. All right. Were you able to listen to any of it?
I listened to quite a bit. Yeah. And I heard most of the second game coming in. So
okay. All right. So the second game, which was a bit of a surprise to me, Oklahoma continues to be on a heater, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. Oklahoma with a 4-3 win over Georgia to give itself a great shot at reaching the finals. They are the 2-0 team out of the SEC.
How about that freshman pitcher?
Yeah,
God, that kid was.
How about just some of these pitchers in general at the College World Series? I've had some guys that, both North Carolina and Oklahoma have gotten to where they are because they've had some young pitchers that have just stepped into big situations and absolutely have not minded being,
whether you know it or not,
attention.
When you get into like these tournaments, you just have to have a little bit of luck.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to have guys that are going to have good days, and they don't necessarily, that's always a tough thing with baseball, maybe more than other sports, is that you might just run into a guy who has a great day, especially if it's a pitcher and he throws, the stuff is all working and the mix is right. And
you throw a freshman out there in front of 24,000 people in his fourth start all year.
Didn't seem to bother him.
Didn't phase him a bit.
Happer has been talking about this with Oklahoma since they took Georgia Tech out a couple weeks ago. And he's just like, it's a professional operation. They find a way to utilize their young pitchers. They always have these power arms, this and that and the other. And, you get into it. And what does it look like? Exactly as he described, where you're able to take on Georgia, the team that probably coming in to this tournament was the favorite from a gambling perspective, but also just was playing like the favorite. They had a weird sort of, outmatched Mississippi State in their small ballpark series, but that was a team that I don't think anybody really wanted to play if they didn't have to. And Oklahoma went toe-to-toe to them. First time they played all year, which another fascinating thing in the age of these giant conferences. You have 4 teams on one side of a draw, and several of them hadn't even played each other until they came to Omaha, which includes regular season and the SEC tournament. So just Oklahoma found a way to get it done. And then the first game, Texas just took apart Alabama in like the first inning, the third inning, the fifth inning, the sixth inning. we saw history made on a couple different levels in that Texas Alabama game, and I believe the final was 13-2.
Alabama getting dismantled. Was that on your bingo card in their College World Series?
No, not really. They played 18 innings, scored 2 runs, and gave up 22, I think. And so that's certainly not what they envisioned when they got off the bus in Omaha.
I was,
a little less than a week ago.
I was bummed about our Grand Island boy.
Yeah, for Tyler.
Yeah, I was. I try not to get enamored or attached, but I was. He's a Grand Island kid, and we were
14-2, so it was actually 23-2. Just
was hoping
add to that 21-point negative run differential.
Hoping for the best for him, but we'll see what happens. It sounds like probably a 3rd round, 4th round pick.
Yeah,
so.
He's going to have a decision to make. And the other thing to kind of factor into all of this, if it matters, and I don't know his exact history, but there's going to be a decision here at the end of this month made on that 5-for-5 deal. And some of these players that seems like their junior year for the Major League Draft would be their big leverage year. Well, if you have a second senior year and you think that there's more money available to you if you go and you prove it again, and you could try to leverage next year, it'll make for some interesting decisions. Generally speaking, though, if you're a pitcher and you have the opportunity to go to Major League Baseball through the draft, everybody knows the, ticking time bomb that is an arm. And usually if you're going to rehab something, it makes it more sense to do it with the professional involvement than, even a collegiate one. But a great opportunity ahead for him. And, rough 2-day stay for Alabama, but certainly doesn't dismiss all the work that Tyler Fay and the Crimson Tide had put in to get to this point. And so we're down to 6 teams here at the College World Series. We'll dive into more of that throughout the day today. Here is our show. It's Tuesday. We got our normal Tuesday regulars, or at least no one informed me that they were bailing. So that means Mitch Sherman at 8:30 and Jacob Padilla at 9:15. And then I mentioned Connor Happer will be joining us at 7:20 this morning. Kind of want to get his thoughts on what we've seen so far here in the College World Series. He's been involved, I think, with every game so far. And so we'll see what has stood out to him, both when he's been on the broadcast with the play-by-play and then down on the field doing some of that great work as well. So we'll catch up with Happer around 7:20. Elsewhere today, obviously we'll be talking College World Series. We'll get our World Cup update. Joey, were you watching yesterday?
Oh, yes.
Were you locked into all of the ties?
Yes, I was.
Are you now a Cape Verde stan?
Cape Verde?
So I've heard both pronunciations. I looked it up, and somehow both pronunciations are accepted. So
okay,
I am confused by this.
I am too.
The one that I saw is Cape Verde. Like there's no E for the pronunciation at the end of it.
Yeah.
But it seems like it should be Cape Verde. And so, and then
that's a crazy matchup because they were ranked 67 in the FIFA rankings, and then Spain is number 2.
Right. And
you would expect a blowout in that game.
Spain is
scoreless draw.
A historic world power. Constantly threatening to win a title. I think they have $1 billion plus of professional soccer on their roster for just the World Cup, let alone what's in their entire ecosystem of players that you could pick from to play for you internationally. And then on the other side, you have Cape Verde. Yes. And it was a 0-0 draw.
That's their first World Cup appearance for the country.
Yeah, I feel like because of the expanded field, which is something that I forgot has happened for the World Cup.
It was 32, now it's 48.
Yeah, and so you just have more of these countries that are getting represented in a way that just weren't there.
I think part of it too is you get 3 hosts of the World Cup. You're not getting one particular host, you're getting multiple. And if you're hosting the World Cup, you got an automatic bid to be in the World Cup. So you got Canada, Mexico, and the US. And then the next time around, I think there's going to be 6 hosts. I think it's going to be in the Iberian Peninsula with Morocco. So Morocco, Spain, Portugal, and then I think Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay might be all hosting. Like there'll be
How does that make sense?
I don't know. I don't know.
Now
I
we're
guess,
crossing the ocean to host.
I guess so.
That
I was looking at the future sites, and that's what it said.
you're
I think more than likely it's definitely going to be in the Iberian Peninsula and including Morocco as well. And then
sure.
I was surprised to see South America part of that.
But you're not going to make people fly.
I think
continental.
if that was the case, if they had South America and Europe and Africa, you're going to probably have to split it in half, and half of the field will play in South America, and then the other half play in Morocco, Portugal, and Spain, and then wherever the final is going to be, probably in Europe.
Okay.
I don't know. It's weird. It's a beautiful mystery.
Definitely weird. Definitely one of those things where I don't invest a lot of time mentally except when it happens. And yesterday was a glorious day. If you really enjoy the fact in soccer, you don't always get a winner. Yesterday was the day for you. So we'll get into
All 4
that
games
a little bit more later today's show. I mentioned we'll dive into the College World Series some more. We, of course, will have some links to look on here. There was big news out of the Brendan Sorsby situation. A resolution appears upon us, and so we'll discuss that here as well. I want to know, as a guy who watches, you listen to most everything, but you allow yourself to watch Kansas City football and Nebraska football. Well, there's a merger of those two things in Emmett Johnson, and so we'll talk about what it could look like for Emmett Johnson in 2026. He was at the Savannah Bananas game. My nephews and niece ran into him at the end of it, and so I think he is enjoyed life post rookie camp and everything else right now. And then, we'll have some other conversations coming up. Matt was telling me about, this used to be the life that I had to live where I knew about things like Owen Price. He was telling me about a recruit coming out of the Grand Island area. We'll talk about in the 9 o'clock hour as well, who's blowing up a little bit. And so we'll learn more there. So that's kind of the rundown of everything. But first, before we get into our topics and get going away today, let's learn a little bit more about Matt. What can you tell us about your radio journey? How did you end up where you did over there?
I went to school at Northeast Community College in Norfolk for 2 years. Went back home.
Home of John Bishop, by the way.
Really?
Before he started there, and then he went to University of Nebraska.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I found that out. He was telling me that
He's-
about a month ago.
He was born in Norfolk?
No,
Or
he is a Fremont guy who then went there for a couple years for the program,
Gotcha.
and then went to the University of Nebraska.
Didn't know that.
Yeah,
interesting. So then I went back home, interned for a hot second, moved to Scottsbluff.
Where's home?
Grand Island.
Grand Island.
North
Okay.
of Grand Island on a farm. Threw watermelons
Okay.
in the summertime.
All right.
Laid pipe. Threw straw bales. Yeah, you now know why I don't come to Omaha.
Yeah, no, you worked with your hands and you physically accomplished things. Well, these soft hands have never seen hard work in their life.
I'm a farm boy, so yeah, now I got it good. So I don't take it for granted. Moved to Scottsbluff for 10 years. Covered Western Nebraska Community College athletics. Did a national volleyball championship at JUCO Division I level in 2007. On that team, we had 6'3" middle out of Venezuela who went to Penn State and won 3 rings. The libero went to Creighton, Nika Benitez. Later on, we had another libero who went to K-State and beat Nebraska in the regional round.
Okay.
Did a lot of traveling. And then the industry changed. The stations got sold, and I went to McCook for a cup of coffee, and then I moved back to Grand Island, but I covered McCook for 7 years, the last few years of the Jeff Gross era. I got in on the Zach Schlager, one of my more favorite games I've ever done in high school. Zach Schlager versus Moses Bryant.
Okay.
Elkhorn South at McCook in a semifinal game. A blocked PAT by Elkhorn South to send them to Memorial Stadium in double overtime. But that was I got to see Moses Bryant in person.
You dropped the name Schlager, and I was thinking to myself,
Zach.
like, I have not heard that name
Zach,
in a while.
He bounced around.
But
had a little...
that was one of those conversations. That same with Moses Bryant. I mean, those were two guys that people were like, all right, I'm going to end up in Lincoln. What's going to happen here? And, sometimes things just work their way out as they do. But
I think last year was Zach's final year.
Well,
He went down and played Division II down in Texas somewhere.
Okay.
I mean, he had been South Dakota,
Yep.
Nebraska, UNK. He took advantage of every rule possible.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you just try to keep playing ball.
Yeah.
And that seems like that's what he did.
So I've been back in Grand Island for 11, 12 years or so. So time flies.
Nice. And so we know that Brian was telling us he has his morning show. So what is your role over there with the station?
Dear Lord. Everything. I guess I just kind of see the overall
From custodian to CEO, basically.
yeah, I mean, I'll scrub the toilet. That's not a first, or take out the trash, help the cleaning lady, mop the floors. I just kind of oversee our building in Grand Island. Since everything has happened with buying and not selling, but we have 2 stations in Grand Island that were part of the group. We're going to move those into our building. So I'll oversee 11 frequencies in our building, which will be the most in Nebraska. So just day-to-day operations. I do a morning show on the country station.
Okay.
So it sounds like I'm there right now, but I'm not.
Oh, wow.
So, one of those things.
You got people tricked out right now.
Oh, I had to work ahead to be here today.
That is one of those things in a production kind of job where if you are taking vacation, or in your case, helping out with us over here, you still have to get the other thing done.
Yeah.
I remember I went to Iceland in 2016, and it was like the one big trip that I'd basically done. And at the time, it was just Michael Brunson and I at Husker 24/7, and it's like I had to write 2 weeks worth of stuff in advance. Not that Bruns couldn't have handled a lot of it by himself, but it's also like you kind of to have basically to give him like 20, 25 different things that he can throw up at any point in time during that stretch. So to give him a break, so it's like he can go do something, or he doesn't have to worry about filling out something, or if it's really slow, it just can, run the day or two with a couple stories. But I distinctly remember that aspect of that job when we only had 2 people. And then if you're the guy hosting the show, and you're going to be here helping me out.
That's right. We're good. We're good at it. So they'll never know.
No,
not even my mom.
She's not going to switch to this station and be like, wait a minute.
No.
We can't get her on, what would it be, 97.7?
97.7, no.
Okay. How's that been out there? What's the reception like for us in Grand Island?
It's been really good. We got some plans coming up for our friends when it comes to Husker football season and getting you guys involved. So, but it's been really good. I remember when I was sworn to secrecy about all of this and ownership change, and I got told that, I think this is what we should do. We should bring it out here. And, the guy that writes our checks, Alan, knows that, I've been a loyal 1620 disciple from, I don't know, probably since college.
Wow.
I mean, from Game Time Nick Baugh to Chicken Nick to Gary to Michael to, when you drive 5 hours to Scottsbluff for a football game, that's what I listen to.
Sure.
And at 3:30 in the morning coming home, you listen to the podcast and the replay pages. And so he knows that, like when I'm in my office working on game prep, getting ready for a high school game, like this is what I listen to. This is how I stay in the know. This is why I don't watch sports, because this is my main source, especially for
we appreciate that.
Yeah. So I know I'm not alone, but I know there's guys right now that are cultivating corn. I know there's guys that are laying out pipe. I know there's people going up and down I-80, people that travel from Kearney to Grand Island to Kearney. So, you cover more area than you probably know in central Nebraska, but it's never been done. It's never been, there's never been a full-fledged sports station. So it's no lie that, hey, you guys are in Omaha, but you guys relate to more people than you probably think when you sit here every day. And it's been really well welcomed.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of people too that have listened to you guys, much like me, for several years, but now
they have the crystal clear
terrestrial radio, like you're rolling down 281. You're like, this is awesome.
It is so great when you get the text from people that and they're like, hey, I'm out here in central Nebraska and I don't have to listen to a podcast, and I don't have to wait for the radio replay, and it's coming in loud and clear. I mean, because we know the 1620 signal isn't as strong as what we would love, because there's times where even out where I'm at in Bennington, it can get a little fuzzy if the weather's not great or whatever. But no, that's fantastic. We We love hearing that. It's been a great adjustment for us too, and this week has given us the opportunity to kind of get to know you guys a little bit more and get you guys on the air here. So you're kind of going through everything. You mentioned Nebraska. You mentioned the Chiefs. You're watching those. How you feeling about those teams for the upcoming season?
Huskers. I don't know. Am I alone?
No, you
Well,
are certainly not alone.
I mean, there's
with
just
that exact reaction. I would
so
say you're
many-
close to the majority.
So many unknowns.
Yeah.
You know, to sit here and say, oh, this will be better and that'll be better, and our quarterback's not going to run for his life, and quarterback's not going to get a broken jaw because the offensive line can't protect him, and wide receivers that come in and we hoop and holler about them, but we can't get them the ball.
Yeah.
And special teams are not very. I mean, it's the same thing. You know,
Yep.
wash, rinse, repeat. We just don't know. And we just sit here and hopefully don't sip too hard. And now the Chiefs, super excited.
Okay.
I think if you can get to the AFC Championship game one more time, this might be it for Andy Reid.
Okay.
Your hot take: Eric Bieniemy will be the next Kansas City Chiefs head football coach.
Look at this. We're getting takes right off the bat.
Kansas City's not going to waste any time. He's done his time. He's back.
Mm-hmm.
He's back with Mahomes.
You think that's why he's back, basically?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the last sort of, more or less, that you can just pick up the P. If this is the last year of Andy Reid, and I don't know if there's any reason to necessarily expect that, but
I think
he's so much older than people probably
Yeah.
think or realize. And that guy has accomplished so
You want
much.
one more?
Yes.
Tyreek Hill will be a Chief soon.
Oh,
Yep.
they're getting the band back together.
They need another wide receiver. You know, they need the old dude that they keep signing, you know, year in, year out. Like they had Hollywood Brown, and they need the guy that's been around, and they bring him back because what's his bucket can't stay out of trouble. So they need to bring. I think they bring him back.
Okay.
There you go.
Those are some good
and a bold move to bring in Kenneth Walker and pay the boy. So, and just give him the ball.
They paid him a lot
and let him run.
They paid him a lot. We'll dive into the Chiefs a little bit more when we get to the Emmett Johnson conversation a little later in today's show. But that voice you are hearing now, Matt Williams, who's in for Connor Happer today, as Happer and Schaefer rolls along here on 1620. When we come back, we'll talk about teams that are the opposite of the Kansas City Chiefs. Teams that have had a bit of a title drought in lieu of the Knicks winning the NBA championship. Yes, Joey, it is not a nightmare. It actually happened.
You don't need to remind me.
The Knicks are your NBA champions. You have to acknowledge them as this every day. You have to acknowledge that it happened. Now, we're gonna discuss what NFL teams have maybe the best chance of ending a drought or winning that coveted first title when we return here on Happer and Schaefer. Welcome back to Happer and Schaefer here. And look, it is the summer, and that means it's a great time to jump into the Summer Sizzle giveaway brought to you by 1620 The Zone and Arby's, who are teaming up to turn up the flavor with this Summer Sizzle giveaway. Enter to win, and you can score a combo meal every week, all summer long, 13 weeks of hot, delicious wins. No cooking, no stressing. Just sizzling bites on us here at 1620 The Zone and Arby's. Enter now at 1620thezone.com and make this your tastiest summer yet. All right. I mentioned going into the break that I wanted to take a few minutes here and discuss these sad sack teams, one of which is mine, that have title droughts or have just never won a title. Now, the article I was looking at listed like some championship for the Vikings before the merger of the NFL and the AFL, and I don't recognize it.
Seriously, you don't?
No, Joey. I recognize no titles in the Minnesota.
I mean, they
Vikings
were a
trophy.
league before the AFL was formed. I would consider it a championship.
Thank you. I will pass.
I will recognize
title.
it.
I don't want anything to do with it. I know you're just getting back on me for this Knicks conversation that
it's not like the Los Angeles Lakers claiming those 5 championships that was in Minneapolis.
There we go. Now you're
Minnesota.
your vitriol to something else.
Minnesota won a championship before the AFL was formed. The NFL started 40 years before they came along. I would consider it.
When did you first learn that the Lakers were actually named when they were up in Minneapolis versus when they were out in LA?
Oh, it was some time ago. It was some time ago.
So you were like younger. It wasn't like some late stage revelation.
No, it wasn't a late stage revelation.
I feel like I had to have been close to not like a full-fledged adult, but I don't think I knew that they were based out of Minneapolis at any point until I was
if you think
like 14
about
or 15 or something.
Well, if you think about it, you would ask yourself, why is Los Angeles named the Lakers, or why are they referred to as the Lakers when there's literally no lakes in the city?
Yeah, but you got to understand, you also grow up in an era where they're the Utah Jazz, and it's hard to imagine there's just a ton of jazz clubs in Salt Lake City, So
that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
You would think that would be in Memphis or in New Orleans. But no, Memphis had the Grizzlies, which was previously in Vancouver for like 4 years.
Memphis, famously known for their grizzly population that terrorizes the city year in and year out.
Yes.
So yeah, but it's one of those things that like I just remember learning it, and it was like this epiphany to me. It's like, oh, that's why their colors are similar to the Vikings or what they were, or that's Lakers makes a lot more sense in Minneapolis than it does in Los Angeles. But I'm always curious. I feel like there's always someone every day who stumbles into something like that, and it's like, oh, this all makes sense now. But anyways, all right. I wanted to talk about some of these NFL teams. Curious, Matt, if you have thoughts on this. So here are a handful of teams that either have title droughts or just have never won a title. And most of these just have not won a title. But we have the Bills, the Bears, the Bengals. So the Bills and the Bengals have not won titles. The Bills, I believe, similar to the Vikings, are credited with a title before the merger of the leagues and the ultimate creation of the NFL. Similar to the Vikings, I would imagine Bills fans do take no comfort in that title, given the everything that's since followed. The Bears won in 1985, the best year of Matt McMaster's non-existing life at that point in time.
That makes two of us.
And then the Bengals have never won a Super Bowl. They played in a couple. The Bills have obviously played in several. The Bears have played in 2, I believe. The Jaguars have never reached a Super Bowl. They have never won a Super Bowl. Therefore, obviously you have to get to the game. Believe their first expansion year is, 96. Does that sound right?
For the Jaguars?
Yeah. Was it even earlier than that?
Yeah, it's got to be 96. It wasn't sometime in the 90s.
I want to say 96 is what I had in my head. It's actually 95. Okay.
You were there.
I was close. They made the playoffs in their second season.
I know the most recent team in the expansion were the Texans, I believe,
Right.
in 2002.
Yep.
Because the Oilers relocated to Tennessee. It was in Nashville for a bit, or in Memphis for a bit before going to Nashville.
Yes. Absolutely. And so it's you know, you had them, you had the Browns came back because the Browns moved to Baltimore, and then prior to that it was Carolina and Jacksonville. So continuing on with this group of teams here, you have the Chargers who made the Super Bowl and lost to the 49ers in the early 90s. You have the Vikings who have made 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, none in my lifetime, and it's just exceedingly sad. You have the Lions who have never made a Super Bowl and blew an NFC championship game with a 14-point lead because their coach didn't want to kick a field goal to go up 3 scores because he believes in being the biggest aggro man out there at all times. You have the Falcons who blew a 28-3 lead in a Super Bowl, which seems a lot worse than the Lions. And every time you think about it, it just seems more and more remarkable, you know, similar to blowing a 29-point lead or a 22-point lead in the fourth quarter of an NBA Finals game. You have the Raiders who last won a Super Bowl in 1983. It's interesting. No one ever talks about the Raiders.
Gee, I wonder why.
As a team that has this drought and has been, you know, less than what it used to be. That was a really good organization in the 70s and the 80s with success. But I feel like whenever people talk about teams with like droughts, the Cowboys, who won 12 years, 3 titles, and 12 years after them, comes up a lot more than the Raiders. I think it's just like a commonly held position the Raiders may never win a Super Bowl. Does that seem fair? They played for one against Tampa, and it was one of the bigger blowouts of my childhood.
Their fans are jerks.
Their fans are jerks.
And don't forget the Tuck Rule game during that time
Yeah,
as well.
and that was divisional round, I want to say, in the snow in Foxborough, and that was the legend of Tom Brady was born shortly thereafter. You have the Cowboys in 1995. Josh Peterson has been sad since roughly then. He claims to not really have much of a memory of it, so
keep it that way.
That's even harder for him in that. You have the Browns who have won a bunch of titles back when nobody was recognizing them, the Otto Graham years, before, you know, the NFL and AFL merged, and they have not won anything since. So those are like all of your notable teams. I think there's probably some others in there. The Panthers have never won a title. Trying to think.
And they had two Super Bowl appearances in this century.
Yeah, I kind of forget about that 2015 noodle arm Peyton Manning Super Bowl.
Yeah. They had a really good game against the Patriots that ended on the field goal from Vinatieri.
And all anybody really remembers from that is Janet Jackson for very different reasons than football.
Oh, yeah.
So, that was a really good game. It's just, you know, it's hard to remember that Jake Delhomme was in a Super Bowl.
I'm not remembering the game.
You're not remembering the game. It like most of those came down to a field goal for the Patriots that just seemingly were always on the right side for so long. You know, and then suffered a couple defeats before coming back to win another Super Bowl or two. So those are your teams with the biggest droughts. Is there anybody in there, Matt, that you think is maybe?
I think very fascinating. You know, the Chargers. I mean, you can probably, you know, when I think of like Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates, like how they never
even got to a Super Bowl.
No,
I mean that's part of the whole thing with AFC teams. Is if you were like a really good AFC team for 20 years, there's a good chance that if you weren't the Ravens or the Steelers who broke through in that fashion, you likely met your demise at the hands of either the Patriots or the Chiefs. Like you have this entire stretch, decades of NFL history, where there's just more or less 2 teams that dominated the AFC landscape. And then the teams that are right behind it would include Baltimore with 2 Super Bowl titles, the Steelers with 2 appearances, 3 appearances and 2 titles. So, you know, and then there's just not a lot of space for anybody else. The Colts win a couple times. The Broncos win a couple times. And who are the one-offs in there? The Bengals are a one-off. I mentioned they've lost several to the 49ers. They lost just recently to the Rams.
Ravens had 1 year in the Super Bowl. They were able to get through as well.
Yeah, they won against the Giants and they won against the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, in early 2000s.
You know,
The Raiders were in one of those years when it wasn't the Patriots. And then, like I said, it's just a handful of teams that have broken through for the most part, and everybody else that has good seasons ends up losing to, Patriots, Chiefs, Ravens, Steelers, or Broncos.
and as a Chiefs fan, I love to see nothing more than misery for the Raiders. Secondary is the Cowboys.
If you do the ranking out of your AFC West hatred scale, is it just the Raiders at the absolute top, or you're closer to Broncos
It's
country?
The Broncos.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's where I have like buddies and friends.
Sure.
The smack talking.
What's the split like in Central Nebraska?
I'm not.
I don't think it's more Broncos people, but
there's Broncos. I mean, I think it's a little bit of everything.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really a dominant. I'd say Chiefs, but yeah, you're so close. I mean, Denver's not very far.
Denver's not far. You're kind of in that. The reason I always think about it that's fascinating out there, and I know this because Lincoln would pull its affiliate from Clay Center, and from more central to further out state than the eastern part of the state, and so you would end up with more Broncos or things like that. It's just fascinating when you think about how the television distribution will end up hitting with that area.
I think you get a splash of like your NFC teams too.
Yep.
Like with Brian, the Packers.
Yep.
You get a splash of the Bears and the Vikings, maybe the Lions too.
It's usually whichever NFC North team is having the best season ended up on Fox. That's how I always considered it.
Usually the
up.
case.
Like I was always guaranteed the Chiefs, which made me mad, which is why I grew up just sort of disliking the Chiefs, because I was forced to. They were one of the games every single week, whether I wanted them or not, which was usually fine when they were good, but when they weren't good, like that era post sort of Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, where things were a little bit ugly there, that grew annoying. And then you were given one of the NFC North teams, basically, and then whatever the doubleheader.
I think your answer is the Bears.
You think the Bears? I don't know.
Are they on the cusp?
I don't know that you're going to sell either Joey or I.
Or can the Bills get Josh Allen enough help to get over the hump?
It should be the Bills, but at this time, like, I'm starting to worry that they're just resigned to this fate that they have, similar to how I feel about the Vikings, where it's like just reaching the AFC Championship game, you have to just take solace at that. I mean, they have wasted so many opportunities with better Bills teams. And then last year was tailor-made to go into Denver, where, Denver was good. They probably were a little over their skis in terms of being a number 1 seed and a 13-win team, but their defense made plays, and they made plays on Josh Allen. And so they were able to win that game. I think if Bo Nix doesn't get hurt, I think they beat the Patriots. I don't think they win the Super Bowl, though, over that Seahawks defense. But I just, like, last year is wide open for Josh Allen. It doesn't happen. 2 years before, they have the opportunity where, they're constantly running the tush push. Like, they ran it like 5 times, not near the goal line, to just get first downs in that game against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. And like, I don't know how you feel about it. And obviously the Super Bowl kind of played out this way. A couple of these versions of the Chiefs that they've lost to in the playoffs, I felt like the Bills were the better team, and Kansas City just showed up better that day. Like, the championship pedigree would show up, and you get more guys on your 45 that were just better that day than theirs. And whether it was Dawson Knox dropping that pass, or, certainly the 13-second game, or whatever else.
Kansas City can't stop the tush push. So, well, I mean, who can? So.
Nobody can, but they stopped it that one time that ended the drive for Buffalo. Like, it's just, it felt like it should have happened by now. And I hope it does happen. I love Josh Allen. I love watching those Bills teams, mostly because they tend to play in some of the more entertaining regular season games every year. And so I'd like to see them get rewarded for it. I just don't know. I feel like if you're going further down this list, like the Chargers with Harbaugh, it seems like there could be an opportunity there. But they got to win a game in the playoffs. They've kind of been dominated both times they've gone to the playoffs. Now, the Patriots game, maybe it wasn't a straight domination. It just was kind of an ugly game all the way through. The Lions is a 4th place schedule this year. There's a lot of buzz about them. The Jaguars with Liam Cohen after last year, kind of how they exploded in the second half of the season. Could they be a dangerous threat? So those are kind of your teams. I don't really believe that the Bengals, as much as it'd be great for Zach Taylor to have another shot at a ring, I don't I don't see it for the Bengals this year at least. So I think for me, if I was going this year, it's probably the Bills and then maybe like the Jags, which feels weird to say out loud.
You're not giving the Cowboys any hope, are you? Which is
No,
just fine with
I'm
me.
sorry. Joshua is definitely not listening right now. Would not be happy with me. But what are you going to do? All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will talk about the World Cup for a little bit here as we finish up the 6 o'clock hour on Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer. It is 6:49 a.m. We're finishing up the 6 o'clock hour. Matt Williams joining us here today, filling in for Connor Happer, who will be joining us actually in about 30 minutes or so. We'll catch up with him.
Skip, could it be on the phone or on the stream?
He didn't tell me, so
I
I'll
will
text him. Yeah, we'll get that figured out. I didn't really think to add. I assume he's going to do the stream.
I would think so too, but I'll check.
Who knows? Maybe he only wants to do the phone. Maybe he's driving around Omaha. He's just out for a drive because he doesn't have to do the radio show this morning. But I'm sure he still woke up early because that's what happens when you do a morning radio show. Even on days where you don't do the radio, your body has you up because you're supposed to be up and talking at that time. All right, Matt. So World Cup. Are you a World Cup guy at all? Are you a soccer guy?
I do like soccer.
All right.
I actually did 2 state tournament matches for Kearney High girls here in Omaha.
Very nice.
So it's a little different beast with radio soccer play-by-play, but we got through it. We had fun. But I do enjoy. I obviously haven't watched any of it, but
sure. It's honestly,
I think I probably will when you get down into like knockout round.
Absolutely. The drama of it for a sport where people complain that not a lot happens, and I get it, but the drama of it when it is good is up there with just about anything. Now, yesterday was quite a day for World Cup soccer in which no one won a game. You heard that correctly. Nobody won a game.
Ties and draws.
Everyone drew each other, even though there was some matchups that absolutely should not have ended up in a draw.
Should have been more of a blowout than a draw.
Well, yeah. So
especially a scoreless draw.
Spain did not score a goal against Cape Verde, and their 40-year-old goaltender, who ESPN was showing a little bit here at the beginning of the 6 o'clock hour, the guy started with 600,000 follows on Twitter, and then people got wind of who he was, and that he was shutting down Spain. And he was at 6 million follows on social media by the end of it. So the world's game for sure, and they were appreciative. I feel like nobody outside of Spain wants Spain to win for the most part. They seem like a team that people like to root against. And so they drew 0-0 with Cape Verde. Belgium, Egypt, which I have to assume was a pretty good game. Two good teams.
It was a really good game.
Yeah.
Egypt struck first, and then Belgium equalized late in the second half, and that was a fun match to watch. That was at Seattle's field, which was
good crowd.
Yeah, it was a really good crowd. The U.S. will play over there against Australia on Friday.
Yeah,
really good crowd.
Socceroos versus the United States on Friday at 2. That'll be a great one. And so you have Saudi Arabia tied or drew with Uruguay.
Yeah, and Uruguay
1-1. Another one where I would have guessed that Uruguay would have won that.
Yeah, they would have. They were trailing 1-0 at the half, and then they were able to equalize late in the second half, like Belgium did with Egypt. Uruguay had so many opportunities to add another goal to actually win that game, but man, credit to Saudi Arabia for holding on the dear life in that game.
Yeah, and then we get a 2-2 at the end of the night, Iran and New Zealand, and again another game where that one would have been. I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to just sort of guess going in who was expected to win. I would have assumed maybe New Zealand, but a 2-2 draw there. So 4 matchups, 4 draws here on Monday, and then Tuesday you have France, Senegal. That'll be fun. France
2 o'clock
should win. Norway, Iraq.
5 o'clock.
Again, I would assume Norway, and then we have our Kansas City game of Argentina versus Algeria.
There's also one more game tonight. It's at 11 o'clock.
But it'll finish in the morning.
Yes, it will.
Right?
Basically, a few hours before we start up. That's
Joey, are you going to stay up for Austria,
no,
Jordan?
No, I'm not going to stay up for that.
Joey is not going to stay up for Austria, Jordan. I can't believe it. He wants to be Mr. World Cup, and he's not willing to stay.
I have a job. I have to wake up early.
Many people have jobs, Joey. You're not special.
I need my sleep.
All right. Well, all right. So we'll recap the schedule here again, but that was your World Cup action. A lot of draws. So if that's something that angers you, yesterday wouldn't have been great for you. All right, let's finish up here. We'll come back 7 o'clock hour. We'll talk about the College World Series. We'll catch up with Connor Happer next. Welcome back here, 7 o'clock hour. Mike Schaefer, Matt Williams sitting in for Connor Happer. You're listening to Happer and Schaefer, and you should get on the show. If you have thoughts, who do you think is going to end their title drought this year? You can go beyond the NFL. That's kind of where I was looking at it, but you think a Major League Baseball team or I don't know, another NBA team or an NHL team.
Or could Nebraska end their college football title drought?
Joey, we don't need people just
We don't need,
dreaming insanely here on
That's silly.
I don't
then we don't
I don't
have
want to
to
say that
reminisce
they
the
can't,
90s.
but it seems very unlikely that Nebraska
Let's win 6 games
is
first.
going
Please.
to make the college football playoff. I agree.
Just win 6 games, please.
You know, if you win 8 games and one of those is against Indiana, it's
That's
like
gravy.
you won the college football.
Exactly.
playoff. So that's
Be your
how I
ranked
see it.
opponent.
But if you want to get on the show today, you can tweet at us on the Zone Twitter feed, which of course is powered by our friends over at Liquid Trucking. You can call in at 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline, or text in, same number, 402-951-1620. Join the show that way. Or you can email us on the Equitable Bank inbox, and you can hit me up, Mike at 1620thezone.com, or Joey at 1620thezone.com. Or if you want to email Matt, where can they reach you?
MWilliams at krgi.com.
All right. Well, there you go.
I'm not cool like you guys. I don't have a zone.
Well, I don't know if I'm cool. They just gave it to
I'm
me.
not.
when
I'm
they
not
were
sure
like,
if
"Hey,
I'm cool, but
you're
I.
going to sit over there and you'll talk when Happer's done talking, and you'll try to make it seem like it's, a conversation."
Yeah.
And then they gave me an email. So,
You can shoot me an email.
yeah. So you can shoot Matt an email there as well. mwilliams at krgi.com.
Yep.
All right. I mentioned College World Series. We had some action yesterday. Alabama, gone. Oklahoma, 2-0. Georgia, Texas, battle to the death or elimination, whichever. Probably better if we just go elimination here. So that's a big elimination game, similar to how kind of felt shocking Ole Miss was the first team that's gone. I am a little surprised that we're getting this rematch here with Georgia and with Texas, and neither one of them are 2-0. And so a big game that'll be happening here tonight in Omaha at the College World Series with those two teams. But Matt, I mean, you've been listening to a lot of these games. You've been following along. What has stood out to you so far with the College World Series?
Of course, Alabama going, out, 2-2 and basically getting ran out of Omaha. I guess that was a little
2 runs.
surprising to me.
That is not
And
good.
just getting basically absolutely boat raced. I look up, it's 5-0 Saturday, 7-0. I'm 9-0. I'm like,
It got on them early. I mean, it was like by the third inning in both games, it felt like they had a pretty huge uphill battle. And then the offense just wasn't there. I mean, they were a team that was traditionally getting a lot of guys on base, and they weren't really able to do that here.
and to have the little engine that could is still around. Troy.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
think it's awesome.
Troy is like the opposite of Alabama, where it's like, okay, we'll spot you a lead, and then we'll see how quickly we can take that away from you. I mean, they've basically been doing that all NCAA tournament. So, this College World Series, we're down to 6 teams at this point. We'll be down to 4 by the end of the day. Your first elimination game of the day is going to be West Virginia and Troy. And your second one, as I mentioned, Georgia and Texas. And then I want to talk a little about what Texas did yesterday in that Alabama game. Adrian Rodriguez goes 5 for 5. He ends up hitting for the cycle. It's kind of Matt, you were telling me you listened to the Royals and growing up, and I don't know how much baseball you follow now, but a cycle is one of those things that as it's building, like especially with the broadcasters are always, all right, he's at the plate now. He's a triple away from a cycle. Could be looking at history here. He started off with a home run in the first. He had a double in the third, and then he came through with a single in the fifth. And now he's got the hardest one to get. Well, in Adrian Rodriguez's case, he ends up with the triple right away, even though it was declared a single. And then they make a scoring change like 5 innings later.
Because that was what Bishop was saying is how they changed it.
And then he ends up with a cycle.
Yeah.
And so, nobody really knows that he's going for a cycle.
And
or
his
has
home
the
run
opportunity.
was 418.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the next game, there was a home run that was like 428. So, I mean, anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he went 5 for 5 with a cycle, the third cycle in College World Series history. And then he's the 7th player, I believe I saw, to
Yep.
have 7 RBIs in a single game.
Magnificent 7.
A monster game from a guy who had a hamate bone injury that really, really bothered him last season. Like, he was really struggled to play through it, had off-season surgery. The off-season surgery took a long time for him to kind of adjust through that. He was struggling again early this year. And it wasn't until kind of May where things started to pick up for him. And then he has just been outstanding for Texas since postseason play has began. And so he's a big reason why they were able to take apart Alabama yesterday. He will be a big reason if they're able to get by Georgia why Texas is still involved here. And then the team that they are playing, Georgia, loses to Oklahoma. They had an opportunity late in that game, a little bit of drama. You get your best player up, and he flies out to center field. And it just kind of, I thought, and I don't know, Joey, I don't know if you were paying attention. The World Cup would have been going on at the same time. And I don't know if Matt was listening. I think you said you were driving in at that time. But I thought Georgia was going to have the opportunity to kind of make that either a tie game or take the lead there in the 9th. And you have to give Oklahoma a ton of credit for coming away with that win, because you're going against one of the best players in the country in Jackson there, who they really kind of held in check. He was 1-5 yesterday, and his one was a big one. His 32nd homer of the year. It came in the 8th inning, and you're able to get him back to the plate, and he's going up against Cleveland there, and the pitcher got the best of him. And these guys that Oklahoma threw out there yesterday, who went 9 innings of 3-run baseball with 11 strikeouts, have an ERA that starts with 5 and absolutely shut down one of the best offenses in the country. And so just a tremendous performance from Oklahoma, who seems to be really tapping into that idea of they don't know how good they are, so they're just out there playing, and it's just kind of all working for them. And they're 2-0. North Carolina's 2-0, and those two teams are in the driver's seat in their respective regions, or brackets, right?
Mike Farron had mentioned it yesterday in the broadcast. Oklahoma's playing like they were the preseason top 10. How everybody thought they probably would play. Now they're playing now, and the old adage of playing your best ball at the right time. And they're on a heater. And they're fun to watch.
They are on an absolute heater. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because Oklahoma, who trailed 7-3 in the bottom of the 7th against number 2 Georgia Tech on the, what would that have been? The Monday of the regional final, because they're in the last game of the regional, the 7th game of the regional. And Georgia Tech has a 7-3 lead. And Georgia Tech, the number 2 seed in the tournament, one of the best teams all year in the regular season. They're up 4 runs. You go into the bottom of the 7th. The Sooners end up scoring 4 to tie it in the 9 innings, and then walk it off in the 10th inning. And then they turn around after that, absolutely bludgeon Kansas in the 2 games in the Super Regional. They go up there to Lawrence and take on their former Big 12 mates and just beat the absolute
Feel bad for Kansas.
I don't think I've ever said that sentence.
I do. Their baseball team is
the baseball. I don't have
pretty good.
any real opinion on, and football I don't really have an opinion on. Their basketball team I have never felt bad for in my entire life.
I will second that.
Never, ever feel bad for anything that ever happens to Kansas basketball. More first-round exits, please, Bill Self. Continue to deliver. Give us another one this year if you could. That would be great. So they take care of Kansas, they take care of Alabama, and they take care of Georgia. And in those 4 games, so that's the number 15 seed. So they beat the number 2 in Georgia Tech. Then they beat Kansas twice. And then they beat Alabama. Then they beat Georgia. That's the 15, the 7, and the 3. These are all national seeds. The run differential in that 4-game stretch, 34-5. Like, that is just blistering the baseball. And their pitching has been outstanding. Like, what they are doing right now is absolutely incredible. When you talk about teams that want to peak at the right time, you're talking about what Oklahoma is doing to everybody. And they're 2-0, and so it's going to take a Herculean effort from either Texas or Georgia, whoever wins today, to take them out of the to take them out of their spot where they look like it sure seems like we're looking at an Oklahoma championship.
What's the drive from Norman?
It'd be about
there'll be more people now. I mean, there'll be more people.
5.5, 6 hours, basically.
That's a jog.
Yeah, so it's not bad. You know, the Vanderbilt coach probably thinks that Oklahoma has a home field advantage here in the College World Series, given his feelings that, you know, Nebraska had a home field advantage or home court advantage in Oklahoma City, and so it's roughly the same distance there. So we'll have to check in with Mark Livingston. I think that's his name.
It's like driving to Scottsbluff from Grand Island.
It is.
It's 5 hours.
Yeah, you know, you don't realize how long the state of Nebraska is until you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to Minneapolis. And it's like, oh, well, if I drove that same amount of time leaving Omaha and just going west, I'm still in the state. you
are.
know, like that's one of those things. And then you hear people out east and they're like, yeah, you know, like you're 2 hours from this and you're 3 hours from this city and you're 2.5 hours from this. And it's like, cool. You drive 2.5 hours from Omaha, you're basically to Grand Island.
Mhm.
So, you know, like that's not even halfway out through the state.
Nope.
You know, so it's wild. It is wild. But yeah, I would imagine if Oklahoma makes the finals, they're gonna have quite a few people in attendance for that coming up from Norman. I can't decide if what I want here is an Oklahoma-Texas situation, because, you know, whenever those teams get together for whatever the sport is, it feels like there's a little bit of an extra emphasis
It's a
on that.
I don't like you game.
Yeah. And as someone who, like, I mean, Oklahoma's in that spot no matter what. Do I want that more, or would I rather see Georgia, because I think they're the best team left in this field, try to take 2 from Oklahoma to really, you know, cement how good they are to try to get to the final there. And then on the other side, today we have West Virginia and Troy, and I think I'm good either way. I mean, I would have loved to have seen West Virginia make a run. I don't think either of these teams are beating North Carolina in 2 games. They might get one off of the Tar Heels. I just, you know, and maybe Troy's just like, this is the same spot we were in our regional. We're comfortable here. 1 win away from elimination. We've been doing that for a while now. So you might just see a Troy team that can respond to that kind of adversity and play through it. But right now, it sure seems like it's setting up for at least North Carolina on one side, and then we'll see what happens. But been a pretty good College World Series so far. A lot of good games, some laughers, some games that you know, we had Mike Farron calling John Bishop a hunk on air multiple times. A burning hunk of a man, I think I heard at one point when I was driving around yesterday. So, you know, Farron and Bishop are clearly in a good spot here, as it's the last day. I think it's the last day Mike Farron's on the broadcast.
It is.
So
it is on the schedule.
If you want to hear that dynamic, which you absolutely should, you got one more day.
I like Bishop's, you know, irritation of the beach ball.
Yes.
Which game was that? Was that yesterday?
I don't know. I've heard it several
comes
times.
in on left field and he's like, here we go.
I mean, I've never probably chuckled more on my lawnmower on a Saturday afternoon
than him talking.
But the irritation of the beach ball starts rolling in.
That's great.
I love it.
That's great. You think he would be prepared for it? It's going to happen no matter what.
More beach balls.
Yeah. Well, what do we think? Big East officiating or beach balls irritate John Bishop in a broadcast?
I think Big East officiating. I think the incompetence of the officiating bugs him.
That's a tough look for the Big East, because, you know,
can he work in horse crap call and a beach ball into his play-by-play?
Horse crap call. That actually seems like something we should be doing.
I told you I listened.
We should. Yeah, no, absolutely. We should be giving him a phrase that he needs to work into the Creighton call that night and see how he does it creatively. I think it's a good path.
They did something for the Kansas game a couple years back when they upset number 1 Kansas. I'm trying to.
Was it something Nick Baugh related?
No. I think Nick Grimm and Josh Peterson got him to say it, but he was talking to Coach Mack after the game, and he got John to tell Mack, "Hey, that was a sick win. That was sick." It was like a word of the day kind of a thing,
I
and
want to believe that McDermott just stared at him and was like, "What's wrong with
yeah,
you?"
he kind of chuckled a bit from what I remembered. I think I could find it somewhere.
That's great.
I was producing that game.
That's great. I didn't know that. That's I like that. I appreciate that effort from our cohorts, Josh Peterson, Nick Grimm. Shout out to Nick Grimm, who's producing all of the baseball games there at the College World Series. Saw him the other day when I stopped by. He's up in his booth, looking very serious and very busy. And all of those guys doing a great job with our coverage. Of course, you can enjoy all of our great coverage at the Omaha Baseball Village. We'll be live before every game. Matt will be down there today. Brian was down there yesterday. I was down there yesterday. Matt McMaster's down there as well. He's been down there pretty much every day so far. And I'll be back tomorrow. No shows for me at the
Yeah,
Omaha
you're off.
Baseball.
You're off. You get a shorter day today.
Yeah. But we have plenty of free stuff. People stop by. Joey, there's granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. They stop by and they grab those off the table. And they're always like,
Wonderful.
"Can I have this?" And it's like, "Yeah, take as many as you want." And they're like, No, I only need one." And then they end up taking two because they realize they're delicious. They want themselves.
Just don't spill your
a
drinks
granola.
nearby our booth, or Josh Odson's going to have to use one of our
Well,
zone
it was
shirts.
Josh who spilled his drinks. That that
Josh
caused that.
did.
Well, we had a root beer taste test.
Yeah, I saw
that,
the picture. I didn't listen.
The
So
the aftermath of trying to clean up led to several root beers.
I thought
being
it was
spilled.
something with Mac McMaster because he tends to leave open drinks out in the studio.
He cannot be blamed for this one, though. I do
I'm
appreciate
I'm
your
surprised he's not the first to spill an open drink bottle.
Yeah, and so
Amazing.
Ted and Wally's, you can get a coupon for a free scoop of ice cream, and then of course Early Bird, you can get a coupon for a free hash hole. So stop by Omaha Baseball Village live before every game. Check it out. Come say hi. Be happy to see you tomorrow when I'm back there, or come talk to Matt today in between the first and second game. He'll be there with Matt McMaster.
And
All right.
Josh Peterson will be there with McMaster in the first show today.
Yep, absolutely.
At 10 o'clock.
That is correct. All right, we will be back. Connor Happer comes back from his hiatus to tell us how the Ferris wheel was and how the College World Series is going next on Happer and Schaefer. Welcome back here on the Happer and Schaefer show, or I guess it's just Happer and Schaefer. I wanted to call it the Connor Happer show, which it is not, but it is Connor Happer. He's joining us here.
Hello.
7:23 this morning. Connor, how we doing?
Good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. Matt Williams sitting in
Wonderful.
for you here today. Happer, I got to start with the Ferris wheel. I was driving. I heard you on it. You asked the operator to stop. He did not listen.
Nope.
You continued to go through. How many loops did you make on the Ferris wheel?
I think it was 4. And yeah, I wish it was like 2. But it goes really fast. So it only took probably, I don't know, it was probably only on there for 7 or 8 minutes or something like that. But of course it stops, to let people off.
And you're at the highest point.
Exactly. I'm at the exact highest point. And what happens is your cart like swings like a pendulum. And that is the worst. That's the worst thing you could ask for me. I'm incredibly afraid of heights, but I did it. I got wild hair yesterday. It was a blowout. I was like, let's do it. And so we actually did it.
So when you're doing that, did you look down? Did you tell yourself to just stare straight ahead? How did you overcome your well-known fear of heights here?
It's kind of nice because I had Josh Odson with me, which was great. Very, he's very supportive of everything that I was going through. And then the person who runs the NCAA social accounts that I've never met before, and she was very, very nice. And then I was talking to John and Farron the entire time. And so the more that they would talk to me, the less that I would think about, how I was propelled 100 feet above the ground or whatever it was, which was awesome. And then like one time through on the way down, the home run ball, you could see it like kind of going over, you could catch it kind of going over the fence, which was fun. But yeah, no, they kind of talked me through it, and we made it. We're back alive.
Yeah, Bishop asking if you were green was like the highlight of that for me for some reason, just the way that it came out and everything else. But that was
honestly, Schaefer, I'll have to listen back to that conversation because I don't even I kind of blacked out. I don't even know what happened.
You participated, but you didn't really participate.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I believe that. All right. Well, it's outside of the Ferris wheel. I feel like it's been a pretty enjoyable College World Series so far, unless you're Alabama, who, in 18 innings, you scored 2 runs and got absolutely taken apart in your pitching staff. Everything else, these teams have conducted themselves well. It's been good games. And I think the story of it for me, and I'd be curious if you'd push back on this at all, young bullpen arms have been a huge factor for North Carolina to get to where they are at 2-0. And then certainly yesterday with Cleveland shutting down Georgia, and you're staring down Daniel Jackson in the batter's box with 2 on there, and the game's balance, hanging there on the line, and they were able to get out of it. And so, how do you feel about how things have gone so far with the College World Series, and what stood out for you?
Well, to add to those, we knew Oklahoma was full of them coming in, and so they just went out and threw Cord Rager and Xander Mercurius, who got him through 17 innings with, in great position, and they're both freshmen. They brought another freshman to back it up, and then Glauber from North Carolina, who is supposed to be in high school right now, and he's just pumping 97 against West Virginia in a winner's bracket game, which is awesome. I think it's been about defensive miscues and just in baseball plays that have made the difference for these teams that are in worse spots right now. I mean, that's what it looks like to me anyway. I mean, late in games, especially in the first, day, the first 2 days with the first set of games, really the difference was for almost all of those teams, with the exception of day 2, I suppose, making mistakes and how the other teams were able to sort of take advantage of that. So it's been proven over and over again. If you play good, clean baseball, don't walk anybody, don't give the other team extra outs, you're going to be in good shape. That's why I thought Oklahoma would be in good position in this thing. And that's why they are right now. I mean, they haven't screwed up hardly anything, and they've got great pitching, and they've got clutch hitting and all that different stuff too. And I think North Carolina is sort of a mirror image on the other side with they're more pitching heavy, but their lineup is obviously come alive. But it's fun for today because I think both of the 1-1 teams, West Virginia and Troy, and then Georgia and Texas are capable of taking one off of whoever they run into in the on the 2-0 side of that bracket too. So it's been really fun. It's been really competitive. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You were kind of talking about this Oklahoma team for basically since they stunned Georgia Tech, and they came back from being down 7-3 on that Monday, and they win that game. And you just keep referring to how kind of professional that operation is, and that their offense is kind of on the rise, and all of these things. Since that game, or really since that 7th inning, if you wanted to include those runs, they go into the bottom of the 7th down 7-3. They've outscored their opponents. What's the number I got here? 38-5 since the bottom of the 7th inning against Georgia Tech on the Monday of the regional final. Like, do you think they're capable of sustaining this heater all the way through to a title here for Oklahoma?
Yeah. I don't think it's a heater. Like, I mean, they're obviously hot right now, but I don't think it's like this, like they're playing outside their minds type of thing.
Sure.
I think they're.
It's just who they are to you.
Yeah. I mean, I love their brand of baseball. I love what they do, and I love how they have things set up for themselves. And then I guess I didn't think that Rager would be that good in the first game, and I guess I didn't think that Mercurius would be that good in the second. I mean, I guess I didn't even know that they'd throw Mercurius in the second game, but now they're in a great position to really, really advance and put themselves in a better position. Obviously, they're one win away from the finals at this point, but their bats are really solid, and they're smart. Like Skip Johnson yesterday in the pregame, I asked him the question that everybody wanted to ask, which was, how's LaChance doing with that ankle? And he's sort of limping around like Kirk Gibson late in his career, and he's still hitting. And I thought his answer was pretty emblematic of sort of what they are as a team and as a group. He's like, man, he's a baseball player. Like that's it. And he basically just said he's a baseball player like 7 times over and over and over again. I'm like, yeah, that's this group. They're quiet. There's no, dugout game or anything like that. There's no calling card. There's no moniker. I guess the only thing that they have is the chaos thing with the OU. But that's just a great style of baseball where when they get up in games, they're going to just fly on you. So yeah, they have a chance to really suffocate some people. And I think they're absolutely a threat to win the national championship.
This is always a great opportunity here with the College World Series here in Omaha. You get the chance to see some potential players that you're expecting to see in Major League Baseball. Any of the top end guys stand out to you so far of what you've watched here for the first 3 days, I guess, or 4 days of the College World Series?
Let's see. Who would be some of the top draft guys? I forgot that. Well, I mean, DeCaro was good the other night. From a pitch, I'm starting with pitchers first. Well, I guess Gavin Kelly, who's a draft guy next year, he could be 1-1 next year. Is electric. Second baseman, catcher for West Virginia. And then it's funny because some of the guys, Jackson Willits, I don't think this is not his draft year. I don't believe.
He's a junior, so he could go.
Okay, so he could go. But some of
I did not put it together that his brother went to the Nationals last year, and Eli Willits. Yeah, it just didn't. I saw the name, and they were talking about the dad, and I was like, I wonder. And then, of course, there it is.
Yeah.
It didn't dawn on me that they would be of the same family for some
reason. You
reason.
Remember Reggie Willits? Reggie Willits was awesome.
No, I do not. I fully admit I do not remember Reggie Willits.
Jimmy Janicki from Troy is probably the guy that's gone up the most in my mind. He was already pretty well regarded as like a top 3 round guy. Troy's catcher. That's a dude. And then their offense is propelled by him, and then Jay Bruth, who hasn't missed a pitch in like a month, which is incredible. That story is absolutely fantastic. And then like it's funny because Texas, there's just a scorching hot guy in Rodriguez is 17 for his 28 in the NCAA tournament. Jay Boroff for Troy, like absolutely scorching hot. Owen Hull for North Carolina, scorching hot, right? Like, and I think you could say the same for sort of each one of the remaining teams left in the field. But no, I
asked that question. I'm looking through it. It's actually kind of a light year in terms of the top 100 for guys that would be playing in this College World Series. There's just not as many represented. I mean, Daniel Jackson, obviously, one of those guys. We've seen some of these pitchers that.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson, while he's only had one hit in the series, the one hit was an absolute tank last night, and then he hit probably 4 other balls hard. So, I mean, he's legit. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, you always sort of watch out for those things. But it's funny. Then it always ends up becoming these non-draft guys or guys who are hot right now who end up stealing the show for the series.
Well, that's just part of the whole baseball thing. I suppose since we have you on here, and because I know this has been near and dear to your heart, we haven't talked about it yet on the show, but what was your reaction when you were at the stadium yesterday and you found out that your Brendan Sorsby nightmare is over?
So I didn't even know. Like I didn't even see this. So they gave up.
No, they didn't give up. So to kind of, we'll go over this recap again here in the 8 o'clock hour, but the Big 12 more or less filed a court order, not court order. They asked for the court to give a declarative judgment on, this situation. So that way they could enact their bylaws. They would know whether they're allowed to enact their bylaws. They could avoid being sued by Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas. And they did this yesterday. The NCAA also came through and asked for a summation and with their appeal and asked for an earlier judgment on that. I am not a legal insider, so these terms take with a big grain of salt here. Mm-hmm. But basically both sides, like both the NCAA and the Big 12, were set up for asking for quicker judgments and a quicker appeal to try to get this all done in a timeline where a decision would be made before the 2026 season. There was a greater chance that something could happen, that Sorsby would tie up in litigation or would then be unavailable to play for Texas Tech. And so I think the decision was kind of made at that point, like, hey, do you want to risk having to sit out this entire year, or is it just make more sense for all of this to end and you just declare for the supplemental draft? And so finally, there's some common wisdom from all parties where it's like, this is not a battle worth having.
Yeah.
And nobody really wants this. Like, I think Texas Tech's appetite for what they were fighting had diminished as it became increasingly more and more unpopular. And all of it. And so basically Sorsby is now in the supplemental draft, and we continue as we thought we were before everything happened about a week and a half ago.
It's shocking to me that they dug as much as they dug. But that's what we were talking about before. I don't know why they continued to do that. I caught wind. I absolutely did not watch the super long feature film that they put out with the 7 guys at the table.
Your big round table that now just a few days later makes absolutely no sense at all.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And then, all the other things, the statement, the long statement from Kirby Hocutt and all these different things that were just completely ridiculous. And then only for 2 days later for it to just be like, none of it really matters anymore. That's fantastic. That's great. Now we can all forget about this and move on with our lives. Hopefully,
it'll be great. By the time you come back, it'll be far enough out of the news cycle. You won't even really ever have to opine on it again. It'll just be over. You can note if he's taken in the supplemental draft, he'll probably never amount to a big NFL career, and you'll just be able to move on.
Well, I'll tell you this: whether it's Thursday or Friday, whenever I'm back, we're gonna have to do an entire show of me catching up on things that I don't know what's going on, which
that's
is
great.
That's
which
actually a
is
good
literally
We're going to do a
everything.
segment called "Did You Know," and I'll just tell you about things that happened when you were at the College World Series.
Dead serious. Literally everything. I forgot that the final. I was super locked into the NBA finals, and then when I went and to the College World Series for a couple days, like I completely forgot the NBA finals existed. And then someone told me that the Knicks won the championship, and I said, "Oh my god, wow, that's crazy! I forgot that was happening."
In honor of you, I gave Jalen Brunson my man of the weekend. Just so I knew that's what you would have wanted. I knew that, the New Yorker inside of you that lived and died with the Knicks this season, like so many of their other fans that existed
Thank you.
roughly at the beginning of June. What an experience for all
Bing
of you.
bong. What did Joey think of that? Did he like it?
I'm in absolute hell right now. But if it was anybody for my rival teams, I'm glad it's not the Lakers, and I'm glad it's someone that's not won it for so long. So I'll take that.
That's very big of you, Joey.
But I'm in hell right now.
He's definitely dying inside, just so you know.
That's okay. We're all dying
just
inside
so
a little bit, I guess.
All right. I'm not going to ask you to make any predictions. You're on the broadcast. That doesn't seem fair. Do you have any predictions for what you might be up to on the broadcast today when you're on the field?
No, I think we'll get a couple competitive games, so there will be less gallivanting around the ballpark or outside the ballpark. We'll probably try to do some game stuff. These elimination games are long, so you have to you gotta find some
Dig in,
angles,
prepare yourself a little bit.
Yeah. So, no, I think we'll get a couple competitive games today. I don't think I have too many like evergreen things left on the table to do for reports. So, we'll see what the game looks like.
All right, Connor, thanks for joining us here on Happer and Schaefer today. Best of luck to you as you are on the call, on the field today as part of the College World Series broadcast with Westwood One, which, of course, you can catch right here on 1620 The Zone. That was Connor Happer, and we appreciate him joining us here today, getting caught up with him once again. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we will decide what headlines we want to dive into. Maybe we'll get both like we did yesterday. I'm going to let Matt pick, and we'll see what he chooses when we come back here next on Happer and Schaefer. Welcome back here on the Happer and Schaefer show. I'm Mike Schaefer. I almost called myself Mike Happer. I now refer to it as a Happer and Schaefer show multiple times. I tried to call myself Mike Happer. I don't know what's happening. I'm joined by Matt Williams here, who's sitting in for Connor Happer as I am slowly losing my mind. So if you're enjoying that, continue to listen. Who knows what I'm going to say by the end of the 9 o'clock hour.
Well, it's back-to-back days you've been on like really bad blind dates, like I mean, outside of
trust me, I have done
a phone call between Brian and you, and it's like, hey, let's throw some random guy in a room and make him talk sports with you for 4 hours.
I have been in worse radio situations.
So you are perfectly fine. It's okay.
You make it work. This has been good with Brian. It was also good. So I have no real problems with it. Early on, I filled in once for, it would have been at that time, Gary and Damon. And I thought I was filling in for one of them. Well, both of them were gone. And someone I had never met and didn't know until I walked into the studio was filling in at that time. And it was, I mean, you want to talk about awkward, like never had a conversation, have no idea which one of us is supposed to lead the show. It was like my fourth time ever filling in. So was pretty green with radio. The producer was good on the back end stuff, but not someone who was going to talk on air a whole lot. And so it was like a basically 4-hour kind of root canal of radio.
Sounds like it.
And so, I basically operate off of that. And it's not like it was anybody's fault, or it's just the way that it happened. Like both hosts just happened to be gone.
Where they give you lidocaine when you have a root canal?
I mean, I've never had a root canal, but I would have needed Novocaine. I would have needed hydrocodone.
Happy gas.
That would have made for some fun radio. That would have been really interesting. All right, Joey, do we have some headlines
yes,
to choose
I do.
from today?
Yes, I do.
Well, how would you? I'm going to start having you rank the headlines before we even say them out. Like one. Would you say Would you say today is a 5, and 5 being good headline day, or is it a 1 with 1 being bad? Or
I would say 3, depending on what your thoughts are on the first headline.
Okay.
So the first headline is India plans mission to recover green boots, the mountaineer whose body serves as Everest warning. So it's this is
a dead body that wears green boots that's at somewhere on Everest
near the peak. Yeah, pretty much.
The warning being like you can die if you do this.
Yeah, don't do this, or you do this at your own risk, kind of a deep thing.
So that it seems like you're not that you're past the point of risk when you meet green boots, but it seems like you should know the risk at that point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it seems
like I might make it to the top, or I might not make it to the top.
Or I could be this guy and be a warning for everybody to follow.
This might be your last journey.
Okay. What do we got? What else do we have?
Second one, pretty obvious. Bees cause minor delay to a United Airlines flight.
Okay. I'm assuming the bees were not in the plane, because that would have been a lot more interesting. Instead, they were just swarming around engines and whatnot.
Yeah. Pretty much. You get the whole point.
Our society is spending a lot of effort protecting bees, I would like to point out. Like you hear a lot of stories. You see it occasionally during the summer at baseball games. There'll be a swarm of bees off to the side, and they'll have to bring out the experts to try to trap all of the bees because they don't want to harm them. Because
do you like honey?
I like honey. I got no problem with honey. I really don't have any problem with bees. They don't bother me in the sense that they tend to leave me alone, or they're like the sugar bees or whatever, where they're just harmless. Now hornets or yellow jackets or wasps, those can go right to hell. Don't have any need for them. They offer us nothing as a society other than pain and scaring the hell.
Like a mosquito.
I remember one of the
giant mean mosquito.
I remember one of the old houses I used to live in my childhood. They repaired the roof, but they left an open gap, so there was a wasp nest in there, and then wasps just kept flying in through the kitchen light sink.
Those the light above kind of hard to get rid of.
Oh yeah, they were, and it took a couple months to get rid of. Yeah, it was bad.
So, all right, Matt, what do you want to learn more about bees in the plane, or do you want to learn more about green boots?
Let's learn about the India.
Okay, what do we got? We're going here. I forget. I read these.
Yes, you have to read it.
don't have to. You're
Mike-
capable of reading,
I
regardless of what
until
Michael Severe
until
says.
Michael Severe
I know.
puts an end to it.
He did not put an end to it.
Yes, he
chose
did.
to stop reading. All right. India plans mission to recover Green Boots, the mountaineer whose body serves as Everest warning. Remains of Indian climber who perished during 1996 expedition lies in mountains depth zone above 8,000, I believe this is meters. Is that right? 8,000 meters. So Indian authorities are looking to recover the body of a climber known as Green Boots from the upper slopes of Mount Everest nearly 30 years after a fatal expedition. The Indo-Tibetan Border Police, a paramilitary force, has issued a tender for a specialist high-altitude recovery agency to bring down what is believed to be as a body of Dorje Morop from the Tibet side of the mountain. Many in mountaineering community, however, believe Green Boots is another Indian climber, Schwang Paujor. Whether those are pronounced correct is up to you. Morop Paujor were part of a 6-member expedition that was caught in a deadly storm near the summit in 1996. All 6 climbers were members of the Indian paramilitary force. While 3 turned back as weather conditions worsened, Morop Paujor and Swang Samanla continued their ascent. We get a picture of Green Boots, by the way, here on the story, if you would like to.
Gosh, look at him. Ooh.
Yeah, So they reportedly went close to the summit before being forced to turn back. All 3 perished on the mountain. The remains of Green Boots lie inside Everest depth zone above 8,000 meters, where harsh conditions make recovery extremely dangerous.
How many people are dead up there?
I would assume we're in the.
What's the point?
It's got to be.
We got to be well past hundreds at this point.
What's the point
maybe
of getting
thousands.
this guy? Why do we need to go up there and get them?
It's there, so it needs to be climbed. That's how people feel about trees. That's how they feel about mountains. That's how Happer feels about Ferris wheels. So
there you go.
You know, like that's what I take away from it. So the remains of Green Boots, I already did that one. The tender invites agencies with experience carrying out rescue or recovery operations at similar altitudes, preferably on Everest, in the past 5 years. The operation is expected to be complicated.
Well, yeah.
By the need to coordinate with Chinese authorities to transport the body across Tibet and Nepal border, fly it to Kathmandu, and arrange reparation to India, according to a report in the Tribune.
I think we're all in consensus that they can just leave the guy there, right?
That's what I thought. Just
unless the families are really needing it, or what?
Well, it's been up there since '96.
Or what was the guy carrying with him?
Oh, you think there's something else there?
Jump down the mysterious conspiracy rabbit hole of what's on said person.
He's got an illicit diamond that one of the world's billionaires knows about and wants.
There you go. This is the next James
This
Bond
feels
movie.
like a Nicolas Cage movie when you describe it
terrible
like that.
National Treasure movie.
The new national treasure, Mount Everest. No, that
whoever goes up there next, just bring him down on your way.
Just bring him down.
And if you don't make it, well then
just check his pockets. And then once you know there's nothing in there, what are we worried about here? So, all right, that is our was our headlines for today. We learned about Green Boots, which honestly I didn't know about. So we're learning here on the Happer and Schaefer show today. I did it again. We are going to take a break and return to Happer and Schaefer on 1620. So Welcome back into Happer and Schaefer here, 8 o'clock hour. Mike Schaefer sitting in the captain's chair, I guess, if you would. Matt Williams joining me here as a co-pilot, filling in for Connor Happer, who, if you missed it, joined us in the 7 o'clock hour. You can catch that on the radio replay. He'll be on the field, checking in with both teams throughout both games today. Of course, College World Series action will be broadcast by Westwood One here on 1620 The Zone. Troy and West Virginia to kick things off here this afternoon at I believe 1 o'clock. Are we normal 1 and 6 start time?
Nope, it's 1 and 7 actually.
1 and 7. Okay.
Yeah, I get the joy of having
You get more Matt McMaster.
Yeah.
Look at that. How did you lose?
I don't know.
Brian only had him for like 45 minutes.
I know. That's what when I was coming in, I was like, well, they're not having much of a show.
No.
It was 23 minutes the day before.
Yeah, no, that was hilarious. It was Josh Peterson.
It was just a one segment thing.
Almost to the point where it's like, if you're them, you're probably rooting for the game to go just long enough that there's not a lot in between there. But no, that's always the thing with those in between shows. But yeah, so 1 o'clock today, and then Joey said 7 o'clock for the Texas Georgia game.
Unique time
tonight. So I know they moved the ones on Saturday to accommodate the NBA Finals.
Yes,
I believe.
I think today was probably the same reason. Well,
because it would have been
Game 6 today.
You're right,
but that would not make sense because the NBA Finals would be at 7:30.
Yeah, so why would you bump it?
Hockey? Would have Game 7 been tonight?
No, I don't think that would have affected it because that wasn't on ESPN.
That Game 7 would have been tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, 7 o'clock tonight, you'll have Texas, Georgia, Westwood One, Mike Farron, John Bishop, Connor Happer, all on that call. And of course, leading up to that, you'll get Matt McMaster and Matt Williams in the Omaha Baseball Village. You'll get Matt McMaster and Josh Peterson earlier today when we sign off here on Happer and Schaefer.
First time I'll ever be down there.
First time you've never gone to the College World Series before?
Never.
Wow. Okay. You should definitely, when you get down there, spend some time, walk around, soak it all up. I think, and this is from somebody who went when he was younger a couple times. I had a neighbor who went, and I tagged along, and then in high school went, and then college, turned 21. It became a much bigger deal to go down there and enjoy all that Rosenblatt had to offer outside of its stadium. And then it moves to Charles Schwab, and I wanted to hate it, and I ended up getting involved with the radio aspect of it and had done several Omaha Baseball Village shows. It's a lot of fun. The environment's great. The atmosphere is great. The tension that you'll notice when you're down there today, because it's a double elimination day, and like Happer said, these games tend to run a little bit long because everybody's going to their bullpen as soon as they need to go to their bullpen. It'll be a good environment. I think you're gonna have a great time. I'll be curious to check in with you and see what your thoughts are after the fact, and especially get over there and get into the stadium a little bit for that first game and take that in, because it's a beautiful venue over there at Charles Schwab. So that is what we have going on today. We are finally going to dive into what has been kind of especially on this show, because I know it has bothered. Not that I am unbothered by it, but I don't think at the level where Happer has been at with the Brendan Sorsby thing. Matt, take me back. How much outside of Nebraska football do you kind of lock in on with college football? Do you pay attention to a lot of the things that are happening, or is it like Nebraska loses to Utah? I know spring football is going to come around. I'll hear people talk about it, but really they're not. Yeah, well, allegedly, you kind of missed it if you paid attention to basketball and then those seasons, spring football, which is not a season, but spring football and Nebraska basketball run overlaps, and so you blinked, you missed entirely.
It was probably the least talked about spring football ever,
which is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad.
We have talked too much spring football.
It's probably okay that Nebraska football's under this counter, flying under the radar.
It'll be soaring above the skies when we get back to August, post Big Ten media days. The fervor, the excitement, the enthusiasm will all be where it normally.
Like my stay in the know is X, as people call it Twitter still. I don't know why they call it Twitter still, but
I call it Twitter because I refuse to call it X. Basically,
it's X. But that's how I stay in the know. That's like my newspaper. I mean, I just scroll and watch.
Sure. So, but like, did you find yourself like actively caring a whole lot about the Brendan Sorsby thing?
Not really, because I'm like, well, duh, this is happening.
Yeah, no, it's not a
You're
not
paying,
a surprise to me that it's happening.
you're paying players,
right.
You're paying college kids who've never paid.
Well, and then gambling's just super prevalent.
So what do
easy.
you think they're going to do?
Right.
And
no, I agree with all of that.
How many more are going to come out?
That's the big question.
There's got to be thousands of them. Maybe not to the extensive of what this is.
9,000 bets, please.
But there's going to be more.
Yeah. The bigger thing to me is that, okay, I have no doubt that this is happening. I have no doubt there's guys on Nebraska's roster that are involved with it. When it is found, if you want this to be a deterrent, you needed the resolution that should have happened or was the NCAA tried to happen, where if guys are gambling on their own team or games of which they are playing in or whatever else, you just can't have that. But that is the one line in sports for me that's always been like, you absolutely cannot have this if you care about the integrity of what these games are. And I understand that Sorsby was not directly involved in those Indiana games, but it's still outlined to him over and over and over. And so if you have these rules and you choose to ignore them, if you get caught, there's generally going to be consequences with it. That's why for me, it was always kind of a big deal. And then I never expected the injunction from the judge. I guess that was the thing.
And probably the biggest problem that a lot of people have is, what did Texas Tech do about it?
Yeah, nothing.
Texas Tech's like,
yeah. Well, they're like, well, it's not our problem. We're just going to support our player.
Nothing to see here.
He's never done anything wrong when he was here, which is not actually true. He was gambling as soon as he got to Texas.
Does he get, do they pay him NIL? Like,
so
how does that work?
Part of why he is going to the supplemental draft, and this hasn't been expressly said, but this is just a Mike Schaefer, crackpot theory, if you would. I think Texas Tech, because they know how unpopular all of this is, the easiest route for them is like, all right, we agreed to this. We made the mistake. We're going to give him his money. He's going to go on to the supplemental draft. We're going to wash our hands from it, and we're just going to move on. Like, I don't think they're going to claw back any of the money that he got in terms of NIL. I think it would be hard for them to do that. I think that's part of why they were so gung-ho in supporting him, is that they were already invested in it. And so in for a penny, in for a pound kind of mentality. And at some point, I think the decision was made, hey, this either with the new stuff that came forth with the Big 12, with what they were attempting to do, or with the NCAA, and you have the possibility of losing this anyways, your better PR thing is to save face. And that's what everybody here is trying to do. Sorsby's just moving on to the NFL. Texas Tech released a statement. Let's see if I can.
He was their athletic director, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kirby Holcutt. There's been several. Well, they have their athletic director. Then they have Cody Campbell, who's more or less their owner. You have Joey McGuire, who is
their owner, aka Sugar Daddy.
Yeah. So
for Texas, Texas Tech, it's it's like, now what's next? I mean,
yeah, that's the big question. And then for them, they were in a situation where Will Hammond is a guy who played for them and they liked a lot last year. So it's not like they were going to go from Brendan Sorsby to Rad Tad from the Little Giants or something. Like they had a backup in place that they were already okay with. And so that's why they're fighting on all of this. Struck me as sort of almost bizarre, because it's like, what are you kind of telling the rest of your roster if you're going to go to the absolute max for this quarterback when you were already a playoff team without him? You're likely still a playoff team without him. And, we'll see how that all ends up. But I think Texas Tech is still the favorite to win the Big 12, even if Brendan Sorsby isn't playing this year. And we know he's not. He's going on in the supplemental draft.
It was all, opened up when you started paying him. Now you let him jump from school to school and pay him a little more. And then now you got this guy and you got him. And well, what does that send a message to the rest of them?
Right.
It's a big crap storm. It rolls all together, and it's only going to get worse until they do something about it.
It does make me wonder, like the next infraction that happens at Texas Tech, and it's like, hey, are you going to go the same level of all in that you went for this guy? You know, and so that'll certainly be something to kind of keep an eye on here.
And the people that, you know, don't care or could care less. I mean, it's a story that we've never had to the magnitude of what it is. So I think it's been kind of fascinating to follow because it's been ever changing for the last, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it is that it involves a player that I think people were thinking has a legitimate chance of kind of doing something that Fernando Mendoza did, where you go from a program where you're pretty good at Cincinnati. Mendoza was pretty good at Cal. You end up at a school that needs a quarterback that can kind of put it over the top. Sorsby was a Heisman candidate. Sorsby was a guy that made Texas Tech seem like they had a better chance of winning a national championship. So you have that high end element of it. You have the salaciousness of this is a guy that bet 9,000 times and so then you get the aspect of the gambling sort of, and then the cross section of society conversation of, is this a problem plaguing young people? Are young people gambling too much? And I think the answer there is yes, but good luck with trying to.
I've never done it.
You never gamble?
Nope.
Look at that.
I'm a tight butt.
Yeah. You earn your money. You keep your money.
It, yeah.
Yeah.
I just buy Mountain Dew.
I can't say that's the same for me. I have gambled many, not as many as Brendan Sorsby, and all legally.
Now I have played a little machine
mostly
at the new casino in Grand Island. I have done that, but I've never done the sports side of it.
Okay. So you haven't done the sports betting.
Yeah.
But you put a few coins in the slot machine and then pulled the lever or whatever.
Didn't win.
Didn't win. No, you're not alone. Believe it or not, there's more like you.
I'm not alone.
Than there are the people who do win. So, I mean, so you have that. You have people like me who are fed up with this just because it's yet another story that involves an athletic program or a college running to a sympathetic local judge to get a judgment that they want instead of just accepting the rules. It gets into the whole conversation of people, especially in college athletics, there's just only self-interest. There is no greater good. There's no, what can we do for the sport, or what can we do for, the conference, or what can we do that's right? And so I get really tired of this. I mean, I was railing on a soapbox about Trinidad Chambliss trying to get an extra year, and Joey Aguilar and Aguilar and all these other guys. And so when it became another court case, and this one more similar, actually, there's really not a similarity with this one. The other ones were all about eligibility, and a guy like the Charles Bediako for Alabama, if you forego your eligibility to go try to join the NBA and then you don't make it in the NBA and you play in the G League, should you still be able to come back and play college basketball because now they're being paid money? And thankfully, the answer to that became no. But there's all of these sort of like test cases where people are just like, all right, the door's been busted down against the NCAA. We'll just go to court over this and we'll go to court over that. And I mean, for me, I want the sport to have some semblance of rules, to have some understanding of like, okay, this is what's allowed and this is what's not allowed. And these people operate under that rule and you're going to operate under that rule. And it's probably naive to think that, we can ever get back to that point, or maybe that they were ever at that point. I mean, people have kind of done whatever they wanted as it relates.
Ship may have sailed.
Yeah. And so we will see. But all of that combines into this stew to make this such a sort of big story. And there's just a lot of, tentacles that come out of it. And one of them's this, and you're an NFL guy. Would you want the Chiefs to offer up a pick on Brendan Sorsby?
No.
As a potential backup quarterback?
No.
Is it from the gambling aspect that like concerns you, or just like the distraction aspect of this?
It's like a Kaepernick thing. Is it not to that magnitude?
Yeah, well, it's
I mean,
kind of. I mean, the distraction aspect of it, I don't know that in the NFL locker room it would matter as much.
But look how many guys in the NFL have done stupid crap.
Right. But it's part of it is just like, if that guy ever played for you, threw an interception, and it was just a horrendously bad pick, and you're just like, all right, but is he gambling against us now? Like Even if
have
you've never
second
bet
thoughts.
against a team, that's always in the back of your mind that this guy once did what you're absolutely not supposed to do.
Once a cheater, always a cheater.
Right. And not even cheater here. Once a gambler, always a gambler.
Mhm.
So that always kind of stands out to me. Like the supplemental draft is sort of a fascinating thing anyways. We haven't had one since 2019. I think I've seen pop up a few times. Notables from the supplemental draft. Do you remember a wide receiver named Josh Gordon
Okay, yeah.
from the
played-
Cleveland Browns?
He played for the Pats too.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think, yeah.
he did. He did. Yeah. So
Yep.
he was taken as a second round pick in 2012. So the way that I understand the supplemental draft work, it's a blind bid process. Teams are kind of grouped together as to you made the playoffs last year, you won your division, those sorts of things. So it's slotted out. So every team, kind of like the regular NFL draft, every team kind of has a number next to them, and then the team that's first gets to go first, and they can pass on it. You go all the way through the first round, nobody offers up their first round pick. You go to the second round, nobody offers up their second round pick. My guess is for somebody like Sorsby, we could be talking like third, fourth round. Let's say, Joey, give me a random team.
Just give me the Baltimore Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens decide to offer their third round pick for Brendan Sorsby. No one else does. They get the rights to Sorsby. They give up their third round pick for the 2027 draft. Like that's effectively how this works. And so we saw this with Josh Gordon in 2012. He's notable one. One of the biggest supplemental picks ever, Chris Carter, the wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, was taken in the fourth round by the Philadelphia Eagles. And how the supplemental draft even comes to be, it's guys that largely find themselves afoul of the NCAA that weren't able to make the deadline in time for the regular NFL draft, but will not be able to play college football in the upcoming season. So they have this like sort of summer session that only comes around when it's necessary. And it hasn't happened since 2019. So Chris Carter, that was in 1987. Also in 1987, a name that Nebraska fans know well and have probably cursed plenty, Brian Bosworth, the linebacker who was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. They used their first round pick on him.
The Oklahoma Sooner, right?
Yeah, Oklahoma Sooner. And then a notable name, if you like college football in the 2000s and the 2010s, the Oakland Raiders. Matt's least favorite Oakland Raiders took Terrell Pryor with a third round pick in 2011. So those are some of your notable.
Didn't have that
Ooh,
name.
we got more here. Bernie Kosar went in the first round to the Cleveland Browns. He's an okay quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Rob Moore, I don't remember who Rob Moore is. If either of you know who Rob Moore is, he went in the first round to the New York Jets in 1990. Jamal Williams, I remember him running back for. No, this is not Jamal Williams.
Not
this
the
is
BYU
Jamal
guy.
Williams, the offensive lineman, who went to the San Diego Chargers in 1998. So those are your kind of notable supplemental ones. I'll be fascinated, what happens with Sorsby. I think about it from the Vikings perspective as a Vikings fan, and would I give up a draft pick in like the third or fourth round for a potential development quarterback that has gambling issues? Honestly, given how bad quarterback play has been in Minnesota, it wouldn't be the worst risk that they've taken or the worst use of a pick in the last couple of years. That'd be JJ McCarthy, right, Joey?
Definitely.
Yeah. So,
You poor guy.
I've watched a lot of bad quarterbacks and often have wondered, are they throwing this game on purpose? Surely they saw that
with
line.
Sorsby, you'll have
Yeah,
your
no,
answer.
you get to merge all of my favorite things together. So, the questioning what the hell the quarterback is doing and then wondering what his mentality or mindset is.
Bingo.
So, I don't know. I don't really know who would be teams to watch in this scenario. I mean, I think like if you're the Jets, it might make sense because you didn't really take a quarterback in the last draft. If you're if you're a team where you've got like a veteran quarterback and you just want to have a developmental quarterback in the hopper, that could kind of make sense. Like if you're the Texans and you don't really know what CJ Stroud is right now, or you're the Dolphins and you have Malik Willis, you could maybe grab Brendan Sorsby for a fourth or fifth round pick and have that as a potential option. I mean, I thought he was a really good quarterback for Cincinnati last year. That's a big part of why I had Texas Tech as a potential national champion, Sorsby as a potential Heisman. They got up on ESPN right now. It's 62% completion percentage, 2,800 yards, 27 touchdowns,
He
to
was. I
5 interceptions. One of those interceptions was
was gonna say he's good till the end.
Malcolm Hartzog when famously John Butler called a defense to bait him into that exact throw, and he threw it, and Malcolm Hartzog came down with it. The Nebraska started their season 1-0 on Thursday night last year, so that that'll be certainly something to keep an eye on. As far as the Big 12, if there's other teams to sort of pay attention to in that conference, when we've talked with Max Olson in the past, he's kind of mentioned, BYU lost twice last year, both times were to Texas Tech. And so you'd probably start there with what Kalani Sitake has done with BYU. I have talked up Houston quite a bit because I like Willie Fritz and what he's done at several stops, including Tulane and Georgia Southern. Houston went 9-3, I believe, last year. And so they return Connor Wiegman and a number of players from that team. So they could be potentially dangerous. Elsewhere in the Big 12, you have an Oklahoma State team that has 80 new players from the transfer portal, 29 of which comes from the North Texas team that set all of those offensive records with Eric Morris and Drew Messmaker.
Where did the Oakland Craig kid go? Offensive lineman.
Grant Segrin.
Where did he go?
That's a great question.
And then
he ended up back at another Power 5 school, I believe.
The Gretna.
Yeah, he's at Northwestern.
Gretna quarterback.
And he is still at Oklahoma State.
He stayed.
Yeah, I think I think Zane is still.
Zane Flores?
I think he is still at Oklahoma State. Yep, still there. So, Grant Segrin went to Northwestern. That's a good pull by you. He's one of those linemen that went in the portal. I think he's represented by Jeremiah Searles, former Nebraska player who's now a agent. And
he'll get to play in their new stadium.
Right? At Northwestern. Yeah, they'll have. I think they play one home game in their beachfront property that they have now, and then they move into their new stadium.
They play a couple, including the Colorado game.
Chicago resident or former Chicago resident, or actually Skokie resident, Matt McMaster has claimed he will be heading out to Northwestern to watch a game at the new stadium at some point this year. He'll have to do Big Red overreaction on the road, I suppose, to make that happen.
We got to do our draft.
I don't think the draft is going to happen. I think certain people keep making it difficult because they pretend like they don't know what their schedule is going to be, while the rest of us are like, am I going to get stuck?
It's like a topical week kind of a deal.
Okay.
You got to do it on the 4th of July week. I thought I pitched that idea. I don't know how everyone else feels about it.
I don't have any problem with the idea. It's a good idea. I have certain games that I would like to avoid, if at all possible, with the Big Red overreaction. But I anticipate
we'll make it happen.
I anticipate I will have quite a few games.
You'll probably do the first one since you're new to this.
Oh yeah, no, I was already planning on it.
I think that's.
I was planning on the first two. I'd already written into my calendar. I'm doing the first two Big Red overreactions. So, but you know what? Those are against Ohio and Bowling Green. So how bad could it be, Joey?
We should run the ball quite a bit in those. So you won't have to worry about run the ball guy.
Well, I don't know. It depends. If the fullback isn't utilized, there's always going to be someone that's upset about that. So,
you're in big trouble then.
There's always a possibility that you're going to have an angry call regarding the fullback. So, all right, let's take a break here. We're going to come back. Mitch Sherman from The Athletic joins us. We can talk a little College World Series. We can talk about Nebraska. We can really go anywhere with Mitch Sherman. Let's find out where we go here on Happer and Schaefer. Welcome back in here on Happer and Schaefer. I am Mike Schaefer, joined with Matt Williams today, sitting in for Connor Happer, who will be down at the ballpark a little bit later for the College World Series. 2 games today. We have Troy, West Virginia, and we have Texas, Georgia. 2 teams will be eliminated. 2 teams will continue to fight on here at the College World Series. And someone who I assume has been down at the College World Series so far in the first 4 days, Mitch Sherman, joining us here from The Athletic. Mitch, how we doing?
Yes, I've been there every day. Every day so far.
Every day so far. What was your favorite day out of the 4 so far?
Yesterday, no doubt about it, because I stayed home for the first game, the elimination game, which was a good move when the final score was 14-2. I think that was the final score. I didn't even watch the end of the game. And then, although I missed Adrian Rodriguez hitting for the cycle.
You wouldn't have really. It's super anticlimactic way to get a cycle, right?
Yeah, I don't even.
A scoring change cycle. Have we ever had that happen before?
That's crazy. I didn't even know that. I didn't. I just found that out right now. I didn't know. I only knew he hit for the cycle because I saw the
headline
media post about it once I got into my seat at the park in the press box for game 2. But it was my favorite day because it was a shorter day. I only watched one game, and then it's not that I love the baseball. I love being there, but like the 8-hour days, the 9-10 hour days, they can get long. And then that was a great game. I thought that was the best game of the series so far last night between Georgia and Oklahoma. And Georgia just has a murderer's row of a lineup. And you know that when they're a guy who's hit 2 home runs all season, looking at their lineup, there's only one place where you get a little bit of a reprieve in Kenny Ishikawa, and you do not, because that guy can hit the ball 430 feet, as we saw last night. So like for Oklahoma to win that game against that Georgia lineup with OU was using a pitcher who hadn't started a game in his career until a month ago. It was 4-3, huge high drama in the 9th inning with Daniel Jackson batting. That was the best game of the series for me.
Obviously, Oklahoma, a super talented baseball team. They're expected to be good this year. They kind of, I wouldn't say underachieved, but they had a so-so regular season in SEC play. I mean, what's kind of the big takeaway you have when you've seen this Oklahoma group? Because for me, it's basically they just have these fearless freshmen. Like they're putting these guys in situations where they're just having massive success, and it goes against. I mean, we've seen veterans crumble in that stadium, and these guys are thriving.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it last night with Xander Mercurius for his first win. That's a nice way to get your first collegiate win. True freshman. He has the benefit of having a brother, an older brother on the team who's hasn't been through this, but has been through some things. Yeah. I mean, I'd even go like higher level than that and just say that with OU, this is another example, and we've seen this in some recent years. I think more often than like in like the earlier years. You go back to 20 years or so, and this probably didn't happen as much. But just like the talent in the sport is so spread out, and the sport is so much deeper at the college level than it used to be, that it's kind of like in the MLB postseason, where you don't have to be the best team. You don't have to be the best team all season, and Oklahoma certainly was not. You just have to get hot and be the best team in June. And there's a lot of teams that are capable of that. And OU's showing that right now. Like going on the road and winning at Georgia Tech was an accomplishment that's on the level with every bit with what the Sooners have done so far in Omaha. And then, Kansas was a formidable super regional opponent, had a ton of momentum, and it looked like KU was destined for a trip to Omaha, and Oklahoma squashed that easily. And they've taken care of business against two SEC teams that had better seasons than the Sooners. Like they've got some Sooner magic in Lincoln right now, or in Omaha right now. And sorry, Freudian slip there. And then you see it's cool to see Barry Switzer and Bob Stoops and Brent Venables jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, so I am kind of curious, if you look between North Carolina and Oklahoma, which of these two teams do you think is better built to to just continue to ride the momentum that they have right now, because they've kind of done it in different ways. I feel like Oklahoma largely has just seized everything in front of them in these two games, and they took out Alabama right away, and then they held off against Georgia. Whereas North Carolina has been in both of these games they played in have been relatively tense until they've had one big inning at the end of it that's allowed them to pull away.
And I think that's their formula. I think that's North Carolina is just like a great baseball team and a great baseball program. And like when you play there, you expect to win those moments. You expect to to get into the 7th or 8th inning of a College World Series game and just be confident that you're going to win because that's what North Carolina does at this point they're the one team that has experience here in the last 3 years or 2 years before this season. So it's not like any kind of a slight on the talent. They're very talented, and like that combination of expecting to win and then being good enough to do it is for me it makes the Tar Heels the favorite at this point. And I realize like they got pushed around a little bit by Georgia Tech in their own conference. Then Oklahoma went into Atlanta and beat Georgia Tech in a regional. So like say, hey, they can Oklahoma's fully capable. And those are the two teams right now that are favored to make the finals. Although I think especially I think North Carolina will cruise on Wednesday tomorrow. And we're not going to need to see an if necessary game on that side of the bracket. I do think that the Georgia Texas winner has a good shot to push it to a Thursday game. And either one of those teams from the SEC that comes out of that side is going to be like a huge task, a huge hill to climb for North Carolina. But I'm making them the favorite in my book.
So which of these is like most surprising to you? That Ole Miss was the first team eliminated, that Alabama had a run differential of -21 across 2 games, or that Georgia Texas rematch is the first elimination game out of that side of the draw, or I guess between two teams playing for a winner take all there?
Yeah. I expected either Georgia or Texas to go 2-0. I expected to see one of those two teams, with the sail through to Wednesday card, like the winner of that Saturday night game. I thought was going to win the national championship at the beginning of the series. I've changed my prediction there to North Carolina, but so that's probably the biggest surprise out of those things. And then Alabama, yeah, I mean, you did not expect, the least surprising thing, did not expect to see Alabama, have this massive run differential. But, I kind of think that combination of, one, Alabama as a program not having been to Omaha in a quarter century, and then two, I mean, it wasn't the toughest regional, certainly wasn't the toughest super regional to have St. John's go into Tuscaloosa. Like they had a good path, an easier path than certainly Oklahoma or many of the other participants here. So I don't think Alabama had been tested in the same way that many of the other 7 teams had, and to see them go 0-2 is not a shock.
Yeah. I want to ask you about Troy's Jabe Roof, I guess is what we're just calling him now after what he's been doing. Jay Boroff basically came into the month of May, had more or less kind of lost his job, was kind of floundering a little bit at the plate. And then since the NCAA tournament has started, other than maybe now Adrian Rodriguez, those are like 2 of the hottest hitters on the planet. You have covered the College World Series. You've seen stories like this. What is it about the sport of baseball, almost more than anything else, where you get these kind of guys that kind of pop up off of the radar and can absolutely change the complexion of a team's season or its postseason run?
Well, I mean, I think I'm a baseball guy, so maybe I'm biased here, but I think it's the sport that is most mentally challenging to play, and there's more failure in baseball.
Definitely a sport rooted in failure.
And so when you conquer that mental game, you have the ability to look like a superhero for a week, or in this case with Jay Boroff, the entire postseason. And you just ride that for as long as you can. And he's on an incredible run. the confidence is sky high. I'm sure, and I haven't talked to him. Hopefully I will today. Like if this, not hopefully, but like Troy's a great, either one of those teams that wins today, West Virginia. Right. I've already written about West Virginia, but like either one of those stories is a great story. And I'm kind of like, I would be excited to see Troy live to see another day, because I think like that's the fact that Troy won a game and has a chance to win a second game is a really cool storyline. Either way, it's a cool storyline with West Virginia. They're both in their first appearance. But if Boroff is like if he does it again today, I would expect, like, if you talk to him about like what it's like for him at the plate right now, like it probably looks like a beach ball up there. Yeah. And when that happens in baseball, like the key is like limiting your slumps and prolonging your hot streaks. And he's definitely doing the latter right now.
Yeah. That Troy team, I just find super fascinating, because it's just like, you can't, they don't understand they're supposed to go away. I mean, they spot teams leads and then immediately roar right back with offense. It's been a ton of fun to watch. I want to switch over to a couple of Nebraska things here as we kind of finish up. We are going to talk about Emmett Johnson and maybe what it looks like for him in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs when we come back here in a little bit. But I want to ask, as it relates to Emmett Johnson, when you think about what he did for Nebraska last year, what aspect of his game, I mean, besides just the total production and all of it, what aspect of his game do you think they're going to have the hardest time replacing?
Well, his durability, like getting stronger as the season goes on, and then they're not going to. It might not be the hardest thing to replace, because they're not going to ask anybody to replace.
Right, they're going to replace him in the aggregate. So you're going to have a bunch of guys trying to do what he did.
One person to do that. So I'd say maybe his okay. So his running style, his ability to make defenders miss, and not just to be elusive, but like to do it in the key moment.
Yeah.
Like anecdotally, it seems like there were a lot of times last year where Emmett had a big run on 3rd and 4 where he got 6 yards or 10 yards, and he looked to be dead to rights after 2, but he really got good, so much improved from earlier in his career and that was, I think it was always a strength for him, but it was uncanny at times last year, whether he was catching a pass or just taking a handoff at making the first or second defender miss. And I think Isaiah Mosey is good at that, can be really good at it. He's probably the best of the backs they have right now at that aspect, but he's right now he's not yet to where Johnson or may not even get there, because Emmett is NFL ready at that level. I do think they're going to have a hard time replacing that part of his game.
Yeah, I think you hit on the big thing kind of off the bat, where it's like he had a knack for making the big play in a critical moment. You think back to those Maryland runs and plays, or even UCLA, where it's like Nebraska needed him to be explosive, because I don't know if that offense was just gonna dink and dunk its way down the field. He kind of removed some of that for Nebraska in a way that replacing those explosive plays are going to be pretty hard. All right, Mitch, appreciate you joining us here as always on Tuesday. Enjoy the College World Series, and hopefully you get to have that Jay Boroff conversation.
Yes. Or hopefully West Virginia provides us with another great storyline.
I guess, do you think we're going to get an extra game out of any of this? Do you see somebody beating one of North Carolina or Oklahoma on Wednesday?
I do. I do think we're going to get an extra game on the Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas side. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a prediction from Mitch Sherman of The Athletic. Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
All right. That was Mitch Sherman. That is it for us here on this one. We'll be back here in a little bit to talk about Emmett Johnson, as I mentioned, and how things look for him with the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer. And look, you need to get signed up at 1620thezone.com. Plenty of contests. Here's a few of them. We have Post Malone. We have the Black Keys. We have Young the Giant. We have Chris Stapleton. We have Motionless in White. And we have Burt Kreischer. All of these are events that can be signed up. Enter the contest, 1620thezone.com. Some of these happening Jack Trice Stadium, some of them happening at Pinnacle Bank Arena, some of them at the Astro here in Omaha.
Where's Motionless and White at?
They are going to be at CHI Health Center.
That would be an awesome show.
Yeah, you
Chris-
turned. Like I saw you kind of
Chris
pivot
Motionless?
and turn.
Heck yeah.
And that's if you're like Matt and you want more details, November 11th at the CHI.
Well, this brings up bad memories for our friends out in central Nebraska, but 97.7 was that kind.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
And it is after you guys get done at 6:00, we go back to the Rock.
Okay.
So that's
All right.
what 97.7 is. We play Chris Motionless.
Okay, there we go. Look at that. Well, if you're out there in central Nebraska and you want to see them at the CHI Health Center on November 11th, get to 1620thezone.com. Get signed up for that. All right, we got a couple minutes here. I mentioned I wanted to ask Matt, the guy uniquely positioned to care here, a Husker fan, a Chiefs fan, and now he has Emmett Johnson from one team to the next team, but also has Kenneth Walker and it's Brashad Smith, right? Like that's the
Yeah, that's the other one.
What's the other running back? No more Isaiah Pacheco. He's gone. No more Kareem Hunt. I assume he is gone. That went on longer than it needed.
The kid from LSU's gone. They brought
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
yeah.
Yeah.
He
He's
left.
gone.
He came back.
Is there? I'm trying to think if there's any other. There was one other running back that the Chiefs would sort of utilize as a receiver every now and then in the last few years, but so it feels like it's kind of open for Emmett Johnson to carve out a special teams role, perhaps, and compete with Smith for a third down role with Kenneth Walker, who when we last saw him with Seattle, they refused to utilize him on third down. Seattle utilized him in the weirdest way possible, where if it was inside the 10-yard line, he was coming out of the game for Charbonnet. And then if it was a third down, he was coming out of the game for Charbonnet. But Kenneth Walker can both catch the ball and also clearly can score inside and tight in the goal line area. It was very odd to me how he was used by the Seahawks. Charbonnet goes out. Kenneth Walker's stock and production goes way up.
If I was teams that are going to play the Chiefs, at least like the first 4 weeks, and you and I talked while you were in the break about, if Mahomes plays, like what's the Eric Bieniemy lab going to look like
With
when
Justin
you have
Fields.
Justin Fields, Kenneth Walker, Smith, and then of course Johnson, and where you can put people in motion or fake to give, toss, flare somebody out.
You think you're going to bust a veer out on people?
I mean, why not?
I mean, Joey knows this from Justin Fields. He runs a high school offense.
You could
yes,
run
he does.
you could run the Glenn Snodgrass York Rhino.
Oh, I like that.
The Rhino that they used to run with Mazary Maypew, and it was absolutely miserable to stop. I mean, just load it up and
Love
run at
these names
people.
right now. I don't know how Snodgrass would feel about Fields' involvement, given that he's a Bears guy and he already experienced that for himself. But yeah, that's a real possibility.
I think it's just unlimited options with all of those guys and what you could do, and you could throw. I mean, Kansas City ran that little run around the Rosie thing. I mean, they're weird, they're strange, they drop stuff, and sometimes it works, and other times it catches teams totally off guard.
Right. I can't shake the feeling that Emmett Johnson, I don't know that he's going to have like this monster pro career and he's going to get some big contract to be a starting running back. I think similar to like Burkhead and Amir Abdullah, he's got that want to and drive to play special teams, to help out any way that he can, to maximize every opportunity that he has. And he's always been counted out. I think he's just going to step up in Kansas City and
He could be a journeyman.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know that he's going to spend his entire career with Kansas City. I just think he's going to be in the NFL for a while.
Yeah.
He's gonna give you quality production when he's on the field. You're not going to worry about him off the field. He's a guy, like I said, he can play special teams for you, which is the easiest route to get on a 53-man roster and then be active on game days. So I'm very interested in what the picture looks like.
I just have a hard time, not thinking that Andy Reid's not going to use him in some form or fashion.
Yeah, it's a good situation. I was kind of hoping the Vikings would be involved. They needed a running back. They ended up with the Wake Forest guy. But Emmett Johnson, with the Chiefs will be certainly fun to watch here in the 2026 season. Speaking of fun, we're going to have more of it when we return here on Happer and Schaefer, 9 o'clock hour next. Need to clean something up from the 8 o'clock hour. I believe it's Platt Cat who pointed this out on our StreamYard. But
Good morning, PC.
Zane Flores is at Iowa State. I didn't scroll far enough down on
Iowa State?
Yeah, so he's at Iowa State now with Jimmy Rogers, who's the head coach.
So he was a part of the overall exodus.
Yeah. It was my bad. I didn't scroll far enough down on the page. First three things I saw were Oklahoma State, so I just assumed still at Oklahoma.
Overall, would you have ever thought 10 years ago that the whole Mike Gundy,
no,
like that would all just get blown to shreds?
I don't understand exactly
It's where
what
that
happened
stadium
there.
wouldn't even be full of people.
Right.
Like
Mike Gundy is a lot. Like there's a lot that's happening there with him.
Well, it starts with his hair.
Just the whole personality. But one of the things that Mike Gundy has been really, really good at has been evolving as football has evolved. Like that guy, some of the best coordinators in college athletics got their start at Oklahoma State because he was willing to take chances on guys who were coaching at the D3 ranks or coaching in NAIA or what have you. Like he was always willing to do things differently than everybody else. And that's allowed Oklahoma State, a place where it's tough to recruit to Stillwater. It's tough to be the little brother to Oklahoma in that state and to find success. And he was able to do it. And again, there's a lot about Mike Gundy that I am genuinely just would be horrified, I think, to witness up close. But I was surprised at how bad it got because he's a good coach. I think he never was able to escape Oklahoma State. He tried to leave multiple different times, and don't know that his personality was going to be a fit for a lot of other places either. And I don't know if he quiet quit or what happened there, but it's just the guy that was on sort of the cutting edge of a variety of different things. It's just a surprise that everything kind of fell apart, at the end there. And so, and it got really, really bad, and he was gone, and now they have Eric Morris. We'll see how that goes with the North Texas coach that'll be there. We'll see if Gundy resurfaces anywhere. If, I could see him popping up at like a New Mexico State or just like a random smaller school that wants to take a chance on a guy like Mike Gundy and just see if there's still something left there. Because he's not that old, right? Like he played football in the 80s. He's got to be like 55 would be my guess.
It's got to be somewhere. It was 2007 where he made that famous "I'm 40.
I'm a man.
I'm a man." Man, so he
don't go after him. He's a kid.
He's about 60 then.
He's 58.
Jeez.
He'll turn 59 on August 12th.
Yeah,
so we'll have to remember that.
So
wish
14
him a happy birthday.
Yeah, 14 months from now.
So
we'll
see. We'll see if he resurfaces. I don't think he's done coaching. Like
is his birthday on a Friday? If it is, that could be a future city of the day candidate. Stillwater.
Stillwater is a city of the day. No, it is a Wednesday, which we have nothing that he can be on that day. So he just has to accept his birthday, and he can't be a potential city of the day. Which we'll have to see what our options are going to be for this week, and I assume it'll be Happer in, but we'll see what that looks like here on Friday. All right, you had told me that there are a couple guys blowing up in the Grand Island area, guys and gals, in terms of recruiting. One of which, Owen Price picked up a Nebraska offer earlier this month. I assume he went and camped, and that's where it came from. This 6'3", 210-pound, listed as an athlete on 24/7 Sports. He's at Grand Island Central Catholic, or GIC for those that are familiar. And Nebraska's not alone. I mean, Kansas State has offered, Minnesota has offered, shows Miami of Ohio here. You mentioned Kansas, you believe, has offered.
Kansas State,
yeah. South Dakota State has gotten in the mix here. And so I am I'm curious what do you know about Owen Price and where might he fit in as a football player at the next level?
Well, excellent motor. I mean, he has a get up and go, and you can put him in different places, especially on the outside, to get around and try to cause havoc. He had an excellent sophomore season a year ago, so he's a youngin'. He's a 28er. But yeah, it's really blossomed here the last few weeks. for him. He had a chance to talk to Dan Lanning at a camp right after Nebraska. Oregon offered him, so Oregon's talking to him. They must see something in him for sure. But for folks in central Nebraska, things have escalated. I have not said this, but I've been told this. They've turned into kind of the Millard South of central Nebraska because they've welcomed in Andre Sabatka, 6'4", 245 pounder, who's going to go to North Dakota State. He's a St. Cecilia transfer. And then you return Will Mazer, 6'3", 285. He's going to go play for Ryan Held at UNK. Brandon Cloud is a returner with 22 tackles for a loss, also offensive liner, 6'3", 230. Bo Stobie comes over from Northwest High across from town, joins the Crusaders, 6'1", 300 pounds. You add Price and then Thomas Schneider at 6'1", 205, who's getting some smaller schools, but I don't think he's done yet. I think he's an FCS guy, maybe South Dakota or someone like that picks him up. But then also Jackson Gangwish is also a youngin who has been going to North Dakota State, South Dakota State, FCS offers here in the heart of the Midwest. So Central Catholic was a team a year ago who got to the finals and played on that awful windy day at Memorial Stadium against
You're going to be more specific.
Against
like every day
Bishop Newman, where they punted the ball and it went up and then backwards.
Yep. That's right.
So it was a miserable game. We sat on the 7th floor. You ever been up there?
Yeah, I have.
In the photo booth.
It's actually amazing. If you're up there for a night game and the stadium's kind of full and you're not Connor Happer and you don't mind looking down from a very elevated perch.
Yeah.
It's an incredible view.
I need to call my friend at Nate Newhouse. I don't know. He's not really my friend, but I feel like I have enough pull of doing games 20 years. You have this massive Memorial Stadium, Mike Schaefer. Why in the world at like 20-degree wind chill, 65-mile-an-hour winds, why am I calling a football game, a state championship football game, at the 7th floor of Memorial Stadium? How is that physically possible? You're telling me there's no other booths to put us in? And that goes for all radio guys. I speak, here's my soapbox.
Okay. I like this.
This is, come on. Seriously?
Yeah.
I go to the little chart and it says 7th floor. It's brutal.
Is it all local broadcaster?
No. They scatter you throughout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you just happen to get the job.
Now, I don't want the Greg Sharp booth. I don't need that. That's sacred.
Well, there's multiple other booths.
Oh, there's coaches. It's
booths,
Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, they put you in a suite.
Come on. I'm going to sit there for 3 hours, call the game, and go home. I just want to stay warm. That's all. I don't want to have to sit up there and call a state.
Did you have the hand warmers?
Oh yeah, everything. I was just sitting up there freezing. So Central Catholic's going to be they're loading up for a return. They lose a lot, but it's been rather interesting to watch it from where our station is to Ruby Avenue is a rather short jog. But they've brought in some kids have transferred over, and C2 football is definitely going to be on notice because they are skill players. I think are going to have to build and get better, but they are massively big for Class C2 football. There's a lot of height and size on that squad.
You know what's really interesting is when you're growing up and you play these communities, and Columbus would play Grand Island a bunch, and so you get to be a little bit familiar. I always regarded Grand Island like the sports coming out of Grand Island that I always think of, and it's because of Gick volleyball. Would always think about they would have a routine battle with SCOTUS that would go, back and forth for a long time for C1 supremacy, and then now they've now moved down to C2, right? Or they bounced back.
They've kind of bounced back and forth, but yeah, Sharon recently retired, so yeah, it's kind of been a rebuild, I guess, if you want to call it that.
And then the other one that I always think about as it involves Grand Island is just baseball. Like there's a lot of baseball that comes out of there. I never really think about football coming out of Grand Island for whatever reason. And it's been obviously Riker Fife, Sam Foltz, those guys played there.
This is the most attention football wise, at least for Owen Price.
That's what. So when I'm going through it and I'm thinking about it, and it's like I've been covering recruiter. I covered recruiting for 14 years. There wasn't a lot of reason to stop in Grand Island,
especially for Power 5-4. Offer.
Christian Ellsworth was somebody that there was attention to. He's now coaching with. I think he went with Colin Klein over to Kansas State. which
Yes.
I
He
don't. I think he left
Texas.
A&M.
Yep, left A&M. Yep.
So some of it for Owen Price, like Ellsworth, might have been the one to make that offer for Kansas State because I think he's a full-time assistant now.
And I was trying to think the last time Central Catholic had somebody. I don't know. Was there someone after Todd Peterson?
Was Todd Peterson Central Catholic?
Yeah.
Man, love Todd Peterson.
So I think maybe there might have been someone after that, but
and
but
Vers would have been Grand Island High.
Yes. Yep.
Because I don't think he was Northwest.
Yep.
Who else? So older than us.
Yeah, but
Grand Island definitely produced players.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just not for whatever reason. I think largely because of Johnny Dorn and Cash Kolkowski and all of those different guys, baseball wise. I always think of Grand Island baseball, and then we played there all the. What is it? Ryder Park.
Just got it redone.
Yeah, and they got it redone.
Turf. Yep.
Oh my!
All turf. Lights.
I have played so many baseball games.
No more Ryder. No more Ryder hops.
No more Ryder hops.
So shout out to all the Metro schools. You can now come.
I think the last game of
Grand
my
Island
career was a Legion baseball game at Ryder Park.
They called
it. I think
Ryder.
they were hosting districts that year.
The Ryder hops, third base.
Yeah. Well.
Speaking of baseball, someone much nerdier than I am, but this last year for Husker baseball was the first year in quite some time there wasn't a Grand Island boy on the roster. That will change next year with Cohen Nelson, the lefty who's coming, who a couple weeks ago went to a little JUCO pre-draft MLB thing down in Texas.
Yeah, he was telling me the team workouts with the Brewers. There's a handful of teams.
Yeah.
The Brewers jumped out to me because they have a Nebraska connection.
He's a lefty, so
yep.
He's got a little brother that's going to Cloud County, and then Gage Gannon is also committed to Nebraska. Cloud County turned him from catcher to pitcher, and then Broxton Barrientos, the center fielder. I don't think that story is done yet.
Okay.
To potentially maybe find his way somewhere. So
Brian was saying Gage Gannon's a guy that as a catcher they quickly realized like a pretty big arm. Let's see what happens if we put him on the mound.
Cloud County's turned into like this farm system for not only Nebraska, but from Grand Island to Cloud, but then Cloud to Nebraska.
Right. So come here, stop in between. It's a weird little, route to get to Lincoln. But
we'll take it.
It's worked out for a number of those guys. But no, that's great. That's great to hear.
Another name to keep in mind is Brock Cushing. Okay. They clocked him at 89 at the state baseball tournament, and Childress watched him on Sunday. He pitched against Gretna East and had a really nice day.
Do all the Grand Island teams co-op for baseball? Or do they just have one? So it's Northwest, GIC, and then it's surrounding communities also can
it has been in the past, but
I mean, obviously Tyler Fates from Jonathan, which is famously not Grand Island.
But he went to school at Grand Island Senior High. But so in the spring they have Grand Island Senior High, which is all the schools, and then we have 2 senior Legion teams, 2 junior Legion teams in the summer.
Really good baseball.
Yeah.
In Grand Island, and then now apparently no Ryder Park hops anymore. So
well, the turf is done. They're still working on it, but all the teams in the Metro, you can now come to Grand Island and play. It's okay. That the turf the field monsters won't get you.
That's funny.
It's
funny.
That's a little Central Nebraska poke at you.
Okay, well that's good. We need that a little bit here. All right, we are going to take a break. When we come back, Jacob Padilla joins us. We're going to talk about volleyball. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals. There might even be an Isaac Trout conversation. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen here on Happer and Schaefer when we return.
Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go.
Jacob Padilla, Herd at Sports, your source for Creighton hoops and Packers banter. Jacob Padilla on Happer and Schaefer, 1620, The Zone.
Welcome in, Jacob Padilla. I've heard that here into the Happer and Schaefer show, and I have to say, Jacob, I'm excited you're on a Tuesday and that Brian Gallagher was on a Monday, because I would have just been completely outnumbered by Packers people. It could have just been a full-on Packers honk session, and nobody needs that on June 16th. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's good to kind of space us out just to keep attacking you from different angles.
People do that. They've been known to, surround me and then just start firing arrows, and there's really nothing you can do, at that point in time. What has been your focus now? I mean, you're now deep into June. Are we back into the AAU basketball circuit? What have you been up to lately?
Yeah, not yet. AAU's off for the whole month of June.
Oh, that's right. It doesn't come back until July.
Yeah. So I was actually watching high school basketball with their high school team. So Mike Sauter and I went down to Columbia, Missouri this past weekend for its Classic Live period, where you had coaches there watching. There were 18 teams from Nebraska went down for this Midwest Showcase. So went down there and got to see at least all 18 teams at least once, a few of them multiple times, and got to talk to some coaches, kind of see how they're feeling about Nebraska prospects, and got to see some really good performances. So I actually got a piece going up, kind of recapping a lot of what I saw on herdatsports.com here, basically after I get off with you guys.
Jacob, Matt Williams filling in for Happer. You're a big volleyball guy. Yesterday, a big day for Nebraska volleyball when it comes to a couple 28 commitments. I think there's probably a third one, if not, has been announced that's coming soon. But right here in Nebraska, I don't know, for many, it's probably a given. The girl from Milford at 6'4", Shayla Rottenberg, committing right away to Nebraska, and Danny Busboom buttoning that up right away.
Yeah, no real surprise there. The only, thing about Shayla, she could go anywhere she wanted to. So Nebraska, I think, still had to take care of business there, do a good job. But yeah, no, she obviously daughter of a Nebraska Hall of Famer, helped Nebraska win their first national title in '95, and Lisa Reitzma, and obviously Nebraska's one of the premier programs in the country, and Shayla grew up watching the Huskers. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool moment for her to kind of get that announcement done and made, and now she can kind of focus on finishing off her high school career. There's obviously been a lot of speculation about her basically as soon as she stepped onto the scene, because she was an impact player right away as a freshman. You could tell that she was going to be pretty special. I mean, the fact that she's playing up on the U19 USA volleyball team as young as she was, playing up a few different age groups, just kind of shows what a special talent she is. And yeah, and it's been fun to kind of watch her. Obviously, multi-sport. She won a state title in both volleyball and basketball this year. And so it's good times for Milford and good times for Nebraska, getting that taken care of.
5.6 kills per set her sophomore season. She had 366. There's also another setter from South Dakota coming. You know anything about the Jocelyn Samuels girl?
Yeah, I mean, the last setter from South Dakota worked out pretty well for Nebraska, so why not go back to the well? And just like Bergen, she started playing varsity volleyball as an eighth grader, and has had a lot of success up there at Harrisburg, South Dakota. So yeah, it's
couple of top 10 players here to start off their class. I don't expect this will be a huge class just based on the fact that they only have one junior on the roster right now in Olivia Malk, and with Skylar Pierce redshirting, bumping her back to the sophomore class. So, and with the 5-for-5 looking like it's coming.
Yeah, I want to interject here because I did want to ask you about that, because I mean, you look at this, your senior class right now is Bergen Riley, Harper Murray, Andy Jackson, Lainey Choboy. I mean, like, you could get another year of that group.
That's crazy.
Or they could end up in the portal or whatever. Like, I don't understand what Danny Busboom Kelly is going to do here, or what Nebraska is going to do here. Do you have any thoughts on this, Jacob?
Yeah, no. I think they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So yeah, they don't. You got 18 roster spots right now. I think we'll see kind of what happens after this next year. It's, I mean, they've been the players have kind of given the non-answer, like they're just focused on what's in front of them now and not really thinking about what they're going to do if that passes. It will be fascinating. I think, again, Nebraska, they're not operating as if they only have one or two spots to give in this class. We'll see. I mean, you can recruit whoever you want in this program, so it makes sense that they're targeting some of the best players in the country, because you got to keep this thing rolling. But also, yeah, you do have to keep that in mind. I have no idea. The interesting thing is, Nebraska, the last time they kind of were in a situation like this with the COVID, and the group ended up with Maddie Kubik, and that ended up not using the extra, like
right.
The seniors after their 4 years. They
and Kayla Caffey went off to Missouri.
Yeah, exactly. So they didn't really have to kind of account for that, just kind of moved along as usual. And with a program like Nebraska, you do have really talented players that you've obviously recruited with the understanding that, hey, these players are moving on. Like, I mean, does Campbell Flynn stick around if Bergen Riley comes back for another year and has to sit behind her again? That wasn't part of the deal. So this is going to make it a little complicated for everybody, this transition. Obviously, once it goes into effect and you can go about recruiting everybody with the understanding of what the rules are going to be, that'll flatten out. But there'll be some difficult decisions, just like there was with COVID, with everybody getting that extra year, and a lot of schools didn't necessarily have spots to welcome players back if they wanted to come back. So obviously, I don't think Danny Busboom Kelly is going to tell Bergen Riley or Harper Murray or Andy Jackson, like, sorry, we don't have room for you. But that does lead to potentially some difficult conversations. And it'll be interesting to see, is there any rules that come with the 5-for-5 transition in terms of roster space? Or is like, nope, that's sorry. You may not have planned for this, but you're going to have to figure it out. Obviously with basketball, with basketball especially, like they had the grandfather clause for previous walk-ons that allowed them to kind of go over the roster cap to maintain those players until they cycle out. I have no idea kind of what the reality of this 5-for-5 is going to actually look like once it goes through. So that'll be, I mean, Danny Busboom Kelly has had to make some difficult decisions already. The Andy Jackson in semifinals, obviously being the most famous one right now, but might be some difficult conversations ahead, just based on just how much talent they're able to recruit and the roster limits.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're talking with Jacob Padilla here of Hurrdat. Jacob, transitioning a little bit away from volleyball here, I just kind of want your thoughts on what happened in the NBA Finals. Like, you witnessed the Knicks winning their first title since 1973, I believe. Jalen Brunson dropping 45 in that game. but I can't walk away from that series without the lead picture being the Spurs blew four or five leads of at least 12 points or more, including obviously the really big one there in game 4. So when you think about this series, is it more Spurs choke or more Knicks achieved?
I think the Knicks certainly deserve credit.
Yeah, it's not to say that they don't deserve
no,
credit,
yeah,
because obviously they had to
no.
come back from this. But we're talking about a
Yeah.
team that blew a double-digit lead in every loss of its series. And like the way they did it is just stupefying to me.
Yeah. No, I think a few things at play here. First, just in terms of why the Knicks are champions, is you just look at kind of, I mean, all playoffs in sports are, a lot of it comes down to war of attrition. And the Knicks, they had all their starters, I believe, played every single game throughout the playoffs. Like the Mitchell Robinson injury, broken hand was about the only real injury situation that I could come up with, and he didn't miss any games for it. I'm saying to play through the broken hand or whatever, but they got him back for the finals, and he was able to do his job. And it's not like he could make free throws when his hand was fully intact anyway, so didn't end up impacting that much. But I mean, like you look at what happened to the Thunder. They very easily could have gone back to back with Jalen Williams healthy, and just didn't happen. So much of winning a championship is injury luck, and the Knicks had it. So that's, I think, where you start from, just in terms of how dominant their run was once they flipped the switch against the Hawks. On the Spurs side, it is interesting because the question was the kind of the youth of the Spurs, and can they get it done their first time there without having gone through it? Everybody talks about how much or how often, like, you have to, the great teams kind of have to experience the playoffs. Young teams have to experience the playoffs to really know what it's about before they're able to break through. And that's happened so many times. The way the Spurs were playing in the earlier rounds, it looked like they were the outlier. Like they were playing so well. I mean, when we kept talking about just kind of they don't care about their lack of experience. Like they're just there to play and there to win. And then we finally saw it really hurt them in this finals. Just, yeah, with the multiple meltdowns. And I think one of the biggest issues was the De'Aaron Fox situation. And this was the veteran guy. The one you obviously just paid that big extension to. You traded for him to be the guy that kind of sped up your timeline, to be the veteran, to go with all these young guys that you were growing naturally within your program. And obviously the injury, like, he was clearly not 100% once he got hurt, and ended up trying to play through it the rest of the playoffs. But like what the burst, which is such a big part of his game, just wasn't quite there to the same degree. And that being said, like, the decision making, like, that shouldn't have been, like, some of the mental mistakes that he made, that that shouldn't have anything to do with whether your ankle is bobbing a little bit or not. Again, that's just kind of making the right decisions. And, like, obviously going for the layup is the biggest one there, instead of pulling the ball out. But it was brutal kind of watching him down the stretch in some of these games. And so, like, that's a huge part of the Spurs not being able to close these out, is like the guy they brought in to be that guy, just for multiple reasons, just wasn't able to, which put more pressure on the young guys. And they weren't able to get it done. And then also kind of the lack of depth, the Luke Cornett struggles. Obviously, anytime Wemby was off the floor, the Knicks feasted, and they really didn't have a reliable guy beyond Dylan Harper as a rookie there, as their sixth man. So anytime you had to go into your bench, kind of hemorrhage points for stretches. And that's kind of, those openings allowed the Knicks to kind of get on a roll and take control and push back to where the Spurs weren't able to kind of hold on to the rope the whole time throughout. So, yeah, it's something the Spurs are going to have to learn from. It'll be interesting. Everybody was obviously talking about the De'Aaron Fox, how you got to trade him, all this stuff. I don't think they're in a position where they can really do that. I think they're probably going to have to run that back and just hope that whatever happened this year was an outlier. You can get healthy and you can learn from it. And you'll see guys like Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper grow, and they'll be able to run it back and be better for this experience. Obviously, that's kind of what Wemby said after the game. Like, it really hurt. They're going to have to learn from it. And I think they can, but all credit goes to the Knicks. The stuff they threw at the Spurs, the San Antonio just didn't have counters for. And a lot of that starts with Jalen Brunson leading that group.
So we are now in NBA offseason mode. What's the most interesting thing that you're going to be following over the next weeks and months here? I know for producer Joey, he's got his fingers crossed and his toes crossed that Giannis will not be a Boston Celtic.
Oh, interesting.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Don't break up the Jays. I am not a fan of it.
Yeah, no, that's ultimately the most consequential thing hanging over the league right now. It's been hanging over the league for a year and a half now. We'll see if they finally find a way to kind of get this over with and free us all from this kind of hostage situation. But obviously, up first is the draft, and I am fascinated with this class and kind of how things are going to play out. It is obviously interesting that the Darren Peterson situation now, where his people have kind of told that, yeah, we're only working out for the number one team.
I would want nothing to do with this guy. Like, nothing about Darren Peterson seems like it's going to be beneficial for whoever drafts him. Maybe as a player, like, you can get by everything, but it's all weird, Jacob. Like, why? Everything about this guy is I'm in control of a situation in which he's really not. And no one, it's not a positive. I don't get it. Like, I would just avoid him.
Yeah. Nothing that he and his people have done to this point raises the level of absolute red flag. Like,
right. I agree. But it's just
but yeah, it's starting to add up. That kind of like, okay. Like, I don't necessarily think that's a great thing that you want to see if you're investing, especially in this draft. And that's where it is kind of fascinating with how this plays out because everybody feels so strongly about these top 3 to 4 guys that could these little things end up adding up and bumping him down the hierarchy compared to where he could have been. Are his people overplaying their hand? I think he still has enough believers in his talent that it very well could end up not mattering. I mean, heck, we just saw a year ago, we saw the Jazz in this situation with Ace Bailey, and his people tried to maneuver landing him somewhere else, and the Jazz are like, "Nah, we're just going to go ahead and get this done," and ended up having a good rookie year. And but now on top of that, you see that the Jazz have a situation with Walker Kessler and how his people didn't like the way that they handled his free agency situation and the fact that he didn't get an extension. And I mean, the moves they made to kind of progress this thing forward, obviously trading for Jaren Jackson Jr. to pair with Kessler and kind of field one of the best defensive front courts in the league. That's the kind of runs into a problem if you make Kessler really unhappy and he's not interested in coming back. And they're having to deal with that now on top of the draft coming up and having this kind of a headache of a situation because honestly, like the way the lottery shook out, I think it's real kind of nice, clean fits with each of those top 4 guys with Debonsa to Washington, with Peterson to the Jazz, with Boozer to Memphis, and Caleb Wilson to the Bulls at 4. Like, I think all those fits make perfect sense. And I think honestly, as good as these guys are, I think fit in kind of what you're trying to build around these guys makes a lot of sense to factor into the draft because you got to kind of split hairs with these guys somehow. Like I'm still not, I'm not convinced that Boozer won't be the best player of this group, and everybody kind of just automatically bumps him down. It seems, and kind of talks about it like it's just those other two at the top as good as kind of this top tier group guys is. So it'll be fascinating to see how those work, and then kind of after that, kind of how the NBA views that point guard crop. You got so many of those guys that's kind of all grouped together with different skill sets, and it'll be fascinating to see kind of what order got Keaton Wagler and Kingston Flemings and Darius Acuff and Michael Brown Jr. All those guys, kind of how those guys slot out. So it was really fun to watch kind of all these guys in college this year, and looking forward to seeing kind of how the NBA views those guys once the draft starts coming up next week.
All right, Jacob, we appreciate your time as always here on a Tuesday. Enjoy the basketball that I'm sure is in your future. Feel free to sneak in a little baseball today with the College World Series. I know you're itching to put it on your television.
Yeah, I did watch a little bit last night.
You a World Cup guy? Can I get you in on the World Cup?
Yeah, I usually do watch the USA games.
Okay.
I was down in Columbia in a gym during this last one, although I watched the last 15 minutes or so of that. So I got to see that last goal by Reina. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see. I honestly have no idea what my schedule is beyond this next day. So if I'm in front of a TV, I will have it on when it starts. But can't promise that at this point.
All right, we appreciate it. Thanks, Jacob.
Yep. Talk to you later.
Jacob Padilla from Herd at Sports. All right, we're going to take a time out. When we come back, going to finish up the show here on Happer and Schaefer.
Good luck with that, Dan.
Welcome back in one final time here on Happer and Schaefer. And look, there's always online contests at 1620 The Zone. This one might be one of the best. No, you're not going to be able to go to a comedian or to a music show if you win, but look at all of the stuff that you would get here, Matt. You'd have 4 tickets to the Royals Tigers on August 23rd, which would put you inside the Blue Moon Tap Room, and you get a parking pass, so you don't have to worry about it. 4 passes to Adventureland, $150 to Early Bird, Ted and Wally's, the ice cream place, for an entire year. I don't know. Do we think it's just like you get 1 scoop a week? Is that how that works? That's pretty good. Pretty good. And a $100 gift card to Hy-Vee. You can get all of this only if you enter online and win at 1620thezone.com.
Hy-Vee brats, baby. Pineapple,
yeah.
The pineapple brats are my fave.
My man. I haven't
love
had
them.
them yet this summer.
Oh,
I made the decision to move away from when I moved to the Omaha area. I had a Weber grill that I had bought with my first house in 2014. It was the only new item I bought with that house. Great grill. Used it for about 10, 11 years. It was still working fine. But I also, at that point, had a Blackstone and then a smoker, and I just didn't need like the regular grill anymore. But now it's like brat season. It's the only thing that I like cannot get to be on the level of everything else. I can do steaks, I can do burgers, I can do chicken, I can do all that with the Blackstone or whatever else I need to. The brats off of a grill, and specifically those pineapple brats you mentioned from Hy-Vee, amazing.
So good. I like them all. The green onions.
Yeah. I mean, there's not
apple maple ones are bomb.
The spicier you get, the more I'm going to be a weenie about it. But like, I'll eat a Cajun brat. I'll eat, a hot link, whatever. I mean, you don't get to look like the portrait of health that I am if you just turn down food. But man, the pineapple, the bacon cheddar,
yes.
all of that stuff, just excellent. So, Now you got me hungry.
Sorry.
It's 10 a.m.
'Tis the season for grilling.
The morning show does just like a number on you trying to figure out like how you eat throughout a day. And then my wife and kid have their schedules, which are different than mine. And it's like, we're going to have dinner at this time. It's like, I've been hungry for 2 hours. It's a tough life I live.
At 10 o'clock,
everybody should feel bad for me. That's how I feel right now. All right. So we've been kind of talking about it a little bit off and on all day. College World Series resumes 1:00. You are going to get West Virginia, Troy. These two teams matched up on Friday. It was the first game of the entire College World Series. It was a great game. We saw someone steal home. Sean Smith of West Virginia hit a home run that went way, way out of here. We saw another big home run. I forget who hit it in that game as well. It's kind of a back and forth affair. I'm like really fascinated to see if Troy can do this again because they put themselves in an early hole. I thought they were going to get blown out by Ole Miss with the way that game started. And they put themselves in an early hole and they were able to kind of battle back there and win that game 12-8 against Ole Miss. They end up giving up 3 home runs, hitting 3 home runs. Now you got a West Virginia team that can hit the ball a little bit. Their pitching, I don't think, has shown up quite how they would have hoped here. And they're going to need to get some big innings. Ian Korn was a big part of the Friday game for West Virginia. And then Crotchfeld, who came in to finish off the game against Ole Miss, he was a big part of the Friday game against West Virginia. I think we're going to see both Korn for West Virginia, Crotchfeld for Troy as they try to just group together as many innings as you can in the middle of this game. Happer mentioned it when we had him on earlier in the show. These elimination games, managers are going to go to their bullpen really quickly, and they need guys to come in and perform. And so you have a chance, and especially in this first game, and I don't know if the wind's going to be blowing out, Matt, but there's a chance we could have a real high-scoring affair here in this first one.
Give me West Virginia.
Give you West Virginia.
I had something about hearing country roads.
Man, I want them to get to the championship game. I can't explain why I have pledged my allegiance to the West Virginia bandwagon. It has nothing to do with Pat McAfee. It really has nothing to do with that song. It's just the vibe out of that place when they took down Kentucky first on Sunday night and then won again on Monday. it seems like a good fan base. They've represented really well here. So is Troy. There's more people that travel for Troy than I expected.
The official weather forecast of the CWS just came out.
Ooh,
Westerly winds 10 to 15 with gusts up to 20 miles per hour. Mostly sunny, and then partly sunny this afternoon, and temps in the lower 80s.
okay. That sounds like a pretty pleasant day.
Shout out to consulting meteorologist Marty McEwen.
All right. I appreciate that. I don't know if I love the gusts. We need less gusts. A little bit more of a calmer day would have been nicer here.
Sounds like more flying beach balls onto the baseball field.
Oh,
Sounds like more Mad John Bishop. Hard to imagine.
Yeah,
such a
triggering
thing.
John Bishop.
Yeah. And then the night game, which will be at 7:00 for reasons that we do not know, which makes a longer show, which means more time for Matt and Matt this afternoon as Chicago Matt and Grand Island Matt.
I've never been
in Omaha.
I've never been to Chicago. He's never been to Grand Island.
There's no way he's been to Grand Island. He'll probably claim that he has and then tell
we
you
just
about
hired
some
an
friend that took him
acquaintance of
there.
his,
Oh, yeah.
Bobby Hessling.
Yeah. Great guy. I just
We're gonna
just
get
saw him the other day.
yeah, we'll get him to Kearney. So
He's very talented. Bobby is an excellent broadcaster.
he's gonna do some of my work.
Yeah, we were talking play-by-play. I mean, Bobby did a lot at Nebraska with KRNU and was part of the broadcast team that covered Nebraska's first NCAA tournament win down there in Oklahoma City and did a great job. Okay, second game. We have Texas. We have Georgia. They just played the other day on Saturday night, and Georgia was able to jump on Texas's ace, got 4 runs in the first inning, and then just kind of sat on a lead, got a good pitching performance of their own, and was able to win that game. What do you think happens here? Georgia, Texas, loser goes home all sad. Winner gets the opportunity to try to take 2 from Oklahoma to get into the championship series. I joined you on West Virginia, by the way.
I'm gonna go horns down.
Horns down. He's going Georgia. I'm with you with that as well.
Augie Garrida's just rolling in his grave.
I once covered a Texas baseball team in which they lost the championship series to LSU, and Augie Garrido went straight to the bus and had to be pulled off of the bus to do his obligated media appearance by the NCAA. And he's just sitting there in his uniform and could not have been more petulant or more surly. It's everything you would imagine out of an old baseball manager like that just really did not want to talk after his team lost to LSU in the national.
I love his classic, the yelling and screaming after the Nebraska beat them, that clip that surfaces every year.
Yeah. He was a character, absolutely a character, of which there are many in college baseball. All right, stick around. The midday show down at the Omaha Baseball Village is up next. They'll get you prepared for West Virginia and Troy and everything to follow. We'll catch you tomorrow.